In New Jersey, 6,600 non-citizens were accidentally registered to vote, despite saying they were not citizens. Interesting timing. We're now getting confirmation from the New York Times that an error led to 400 non-citizens actually voting. I'm sure many people are going to come out and say, oh, no, so what? It's not a big deal. It's only 400. I'm sure that can't swing an election. Depending on the jurisdiction, actually, for localities, it really could. Now, what's interesting about this is that this comes only a few days after we saw Mark Wayne Mullen, Donald Trump, come out and address the issue of non-citizens on our voter rolls and threaten to withhold funding from states that did not remove them. And lo, we see New Jersey go, oopsie daisy. Wow. I got to say, I'm actually impressed. I did not think the threat of withholding grants was all that strong. But to see New Jersey come out and be like, yeah, actually, we got lots of this. Now, what we found, or I should say what the Trump administration found, was around 280,000 non-citizens registered, but they did not have access to blue states' data. And we're now learning, hey, actually, non-citizens are voting. I'm sure the liberals are going to say it's not widespread enough to have an impact, but that's not the point. The point is it exists, and it could be enough in small jurisdictions. But hey, hold on. You know what? Why are we arguing? We all agree it's bad, right? Great. Then let's just be done with it and go through these other states and solve this problem. So we're going to talk about that, plus a bunch of other funny information. We've got Van Jones on CNN saying the Democrats have become socialists. They've gone too far. But an excellent point being brought up on the show. The socialist victories in New York are going to have a national effect. Moderate Democrats, or those purporting to be, are going to be plagued by the socialist messages from national level politicians. So they might be trying to run in Michigan saying, no, I'm a regular person, not a socialist, but it won't matter because the party is beginning to represent socialism and communism, as Bill Maher said. Now, you combine this with other big news. The Republicans have $1 billion across their organizations to Democrats' $334 million. Spending talks, BS walks. You check any election and you will see almost a one-for-one relation between victories and spending. You combine redistricting with spending, with bad polling for Democrats, it is not actually looking good for Democrats. Now, I'm not saying they're going to lose. They still are the favorites, but by a hair. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. And before we do, we got a great sponsor for you guys. It is Backyard Butchers. Head over to backyardbutchers.com. Use promo code Tim. They got great deals. You know what, my friends? You got to eat real food and real meat. Did you guys know that just 4 companies control the majority of America's beef supply? And the largest is actually foreign owned. Here's the most disgusting thing. It's so gross. A single pound of conventional grocery store ground beef can contain the DNA from hundreds of different cattle. Just imagining like a conveyor belt loading cattle into a meat grinder all mixed up and hodgepodged. Guys, you got to get real steaks. The solution is returning to tradition where you know your rancher, you know your land, you know where your meat is coming from. And I will say this, out here, we're in West Virginia. I can drive up to a farm and they will tell me straight up, this is one cow right here. And you can see all the different cuts of meat. You guys got to go to real ranchers, and you can do that with Backyard Butchers. They got premium American beef, real Texas ranchers, born, raised, and processed in the USA. 98% grass-fed, 2% grain-finished, no hormones, no antibiotics, no preservatives. So go to backyardbutchers.com, use promo code TIM. You get up to 30% off 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes plus free shipping. And, of course, they got their America's 250th anniversary box, the America 250 box. It's their steakhouse box, complete with burgers, dogs, built for the best time of year. I know the 4th of July has passed, but you can still get out there and grill while the weather's nice. And those cool, crisp summer nights with a good burger on the grill, that's America right there, my friend. So, again, backyardbutchers.com, promo code TIM. 2 free 10-ounce ribeyes, free shipping. Check it out. Thanks for sponsoring the show, guys. And head over to timcast.com and join us. Be the change you want to see in this world. Don't just sit idly by. Stand up. Become a member. Get involved. And this Friday is the exclusive VIP members-only opening party for Cast Brew Coffee in Martinsburg, West Virginia. That is, we are going to have Alex Stein is going to be there. Jason Ellis is going to be there. Ian, whether you want him to or not, he's going to sing for you. I might play. Maybe, we'll have a good time. And then we're going to play some Magic the Gathering. So if you guys play and you want to show up, become a member, join. We've only got a few tickets left, and it's going to be pretty dang packed. But I also want to say this too, guys. Cast Brew Coffee is open. You can go there right now. Sit down, enjoy a nice milkshake or smoothie or cup of coffee in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So again, if you want to come check out the Cast Brew Coffee location, it is in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Open, ready for business. Go there now. Get some yogurt or something. I don't know, drink coffee. It's fantastic. It's soft open. We're rolling things out, and they're going to go the way they go, and it's going to be built up to come. But this Friday, we're going to have food. We're going to have a party. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We want to see you there. Right now, my friends, we're going to go back to the news, so smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you have ever met in your life. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Matthew Faraci.
Good evening, Tim. How are you?
Welcome back. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I do a lot of things, but I'm the founder of a group called Torch QRF, and we're fighting for religious freedom around the world. TorchQRF.org.
Easy enough. Welcome back to the show. Libby is here.
I'm Libby Emmons. I'm really glad to be here with you guys tonight.
Hello, everybody. My name's Phil. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. What's up, Carter?
Hello, everyone. Carter here, and thanks for coming, everyone. Matthew, good to see you again. Libby, and let's get into the news.
Here we go from NBC News. 6,600 non-citizens were registered to vote in New Jersey because of a software error, Governor says. I'm going to go ahead and say when the Secretary of the DHS comes out, and with all due respect, it was a fairly tepid press conference. But when he says, we're going to withhold grants from your states if you don't cooperate, we will pursue criminal action. It's interesting that, that was Friday, and now it's Tuesday, and the governor's like, actually, yes, we have thousands of people who are not citizens registered to vote. It's not just that. 400 actually did. The New York Times, roughly 400 non-citizens cast ballots in New Jersey after about 6,600 residents were improperly registered. And here's what's crazy. These people explicitly wrote on their, I believe it was their driver's license forms, correct? They wrote, not a citizen. And oopsie, they were entered into that system as citizens who can vote and registered. That is terrifying because you know what that means? If these are the accidents, what is the intention? Mm-hmm. How many people who are not citizens said they were? And how do you track them down? So I think this is the first thread we pull on, and I believe this is going to indicate there are going to be many others improperly registered to vote who are not eligible to vote because citizenship, that's just one factor. What about felons? What about people who are otherwise not eligible to vote, who are inadvertently allowed to and are? I'm going to say it again. Don't come at me with that. It's only 400 people who voted. In small localities, 400 is a lot. We're talking about certain elections. When you're talking about a comptroller, for instance, that could be 1,000 votes, especially if you're talking about small suburban areas of New Jersey. The question is, where were these non-citizens concentrated? What elections did they vote in? And in what concentrations? I mean, if it's like 12 people here and there, perhaps, was that enough in a local election to actually change? A state rep, a comptroller, a county administrator, or anything to that effect? And what does that mean for the people who live in that state? This opens a can of worms by which the DHS, the federal government, needs to go in and do a full sweep. Figure out what else is going on. I'm glad they've admitted it, but I think this just opens a can of worms.
You know where they can get all that data, Tim?
Where can they get it?
They can buy it from China.
Ah, yes, indeed.
All they have to do is go to the Chinese and say, how many fake citizens do you have in your database? And we'll match it. They'll give us a discount, too. Do you guys know who Lorenzo Sewell is? He's the pastor that prayed at Trump's inauguration, maybe the greatest prayer ever, Detroit pastor. He's got 7 lawsuits he's filing that shows something similar to this, that folks in his area in Detroit, in urban areas, it gets even better. They're having people vote for them, okay? They show up at the polls and say, and when they get there, they're told, you already voted.
Really?
Yeah, they're told, you already voted. And apparently, this is pretty widespread. I heard a bunch of other people talking about it too. And Lorenzo, again, has like 7 separate legal actions. Because his point was, and I think this is brilliant, You can't prove Smartmatic. You can't prove Brazil, whatever, tampering. You can try. But you can prove a human being, a voter, tied to a vote, didn't get to vote or somebody voted for them. That is the foolproof way to do it. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, that's really wild.
Super fascinating.
Could you imagine showing up at the polls and having them just tell you that you already voted?
You already voted. And then they say, I didn't vote. Yes, you did.
And we saw this in 2020. These things were never answered. There was that, what was he? He was from like Arizona, or he was from Tennessee, or I can't remember which state. He was on Laura Ingram's show, and he said that according to the records in his home state, he had voted despite him being away for college. Someone voted in his name.
Yeah.
And they also discovered, the federal government discovered, what was it, thousands of people, like what was it, 400,000 people who are dead who are on the voter rolls? Was it 400,000?
Some insane number. And the reason why that matters,
it was a huge number.
It matters because when they issue universal mail-in votes, this actually happened to us. And we were in New Jersey at the time, and we had received a ballot for an individual who did not live at our house. And we were like, how does that happen? I live here. I'd lived there for, it would have been, I think, at that point, 2 years. And they implement universal mail-in voting recently. And then a ballot showed up for someone who didn't live there.
And who's to say that, that doesn't happen at thousands of addresses across each state? And who's to say that those people don't fill those ballots out and send them in? There's no way to check this stuff. The idea of mailing ballots out and then having them mailed back in is just so ridiculous and so unserious, in my opinion. I can't see why anyone makes that.
How racist is it to say that black folks and minorities can't get an ID?
Never mind that women who change their name when they get married can't vote for some reason.
Right.
Well, but no.
And the funny thing about the women thing is it's like those are mostly conservative women that change their name. So are the Democrats really saying that these conservative women?
Yeah, they only want hyphenated
guys, even
names.
talking about the arguments that they make is giving them more credibility than they deserve. Right? Like, even whether you're talking about with the racism, we're talking about how bad it is to how bad of your opinion women must you be. These arguments are bullshit.
Well, you remember Kathy Hochul being like, "Black people don't know what computers are."
Yeah, but the point, the point that I'm making is that's giving them too much credit.
You're right.
There's a guy who an influencer made a video. He's a black dude, and he's jumping around the computer and like hitting it with his hand.
What is it? What could it be?
Files are inside the computer.
I wonder if it's that Democrats are low. Like, there's this data we'll get into in a minute. They're low income. The highest propensity Democrat voters are low income, high like postgraduate. I wonder if these are the people that live in white suburban areas and have never actually met minorities. So they are the benevolent racists, and that's why they perpetuate these racist policies.
They also, you always hear these people sort of assume that people that they've never met are the ones who are having these kinds of problems. So they've never met anyone who's had trouble voting. They've never met a black person who can't get an ID. They've never met a woman who can't figure out her ID after changing her name. They've never met any of these people, who are like in need of all these extra services or
because
they don't know them.
Exist, and it's all a lie.
And that's the thing. They don't exist.
It's all
a lie.
You're right.
And it's just these people who are in need of believing that other people are, desperate for their help.
There was a time where people would say, people would get really, really worried about if someone calls you racist or whatever. And then people have kind of got to the point where they're like, I know I'm not racist. Why do I care? Right? This is only an attack. Giving credibility, if someone says that and you get defensive, you're giving that person credibility. You're saying maybe you're right. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. By acknowledging these arguments, we're giving them credibility. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
We should totally reject, and we shouldn't even bring up the arguments they make. We should reject them out of hand because they are absolutely bullshit. They're lies, and it's all to distract from the actual fact of there is no legitimate argument against voter ID.
It's simple. Who benefits if the voting rolls are muddy, and who benefits if it's honest voting?
That's
the question, right, Tim?
If you want a real election,
right,
where you and your political rivals sit down and say, you know what, we'll vote and see who wins. You want clean voter rolls, voter security, voter ID, and a handshake at the end. If you are trying to do something weird, you're going to obfuscate and say, well, it's illegal to vote anyway. This is the stupidest argument. They say, it's illegal for non-citizens to vote. Why are we doing this? My response is, murder is illegal too. We still put police outside of schools or banks or whatever because sometimes people commit crimes.
Right.
But, you know.
What do you guys make of the thing where the United States Postal Service will be able to not deliver mail-in or absentee ballots unless they provide the eligible voter list to the government? I think that's totally
brilliant.
Whoa, that's phenomenal.
And Trump just won this over the weekend.
Trump did an executive order. The states took it to court, and the court said, yeah, that's legit. You can do that. You can withhold it if you can't get a reasonable list of voters. You can withhold sending the mail-in ballots.
Wow.
Which really puts Washington State and a couple of other states, Colorado, where they only do mail-in voting, they won't be able to vote because they're not sharing their voter rolls either.
Well, you know what I realized is that there is absolutely no correlation between race, ethnicity, or physical capabilities, height, intelligence, or otherwise. We're all blank slates. So then I started to ask myself why it was Koreans tend to be so good at math and so smart. Kimchi.
I think it's the fermented foods.
It's got to be the fermented foods.
That's all it is.
We should just mandate everybody eat kimchi. I'm going to start a kimchi company.
I'm sorry.
I love kimchi.
It's Korean movies. Come on, man. Korean movies are amazing.
No, I jokingly bring that up because I was reading this thing today about kimchi and gut bacteria, and actually, like, not that it's going to make you smarter, but that clean gut bacteria makes you lose weight. It makes your brain less cloudy. And then I'm like, maybe we just need, in all seriousness, not the kimchi things just because I love kimchi, but like maybe one of the biggest problems we have with low propensity, or I shouldn't say low propensity voters, but low information voters and general ignorance in this country, and I think this is fairly obvious, it starts with diet, which is why Maha was so important in 2024. But I wonder if we talk about muddy elections, I wonder if a solution to everything is literally starting with Maha first. How do we get to that point where people are healthy? You know what I mean?
Well, this has been a First Lady initiative for a long time, like the healthy stuff, right? So, I mean,
what was the sugar thing that Michelle Obama did?
Yeah, it was Michelle Obama had the sugar thing. Meanwhile, you had Ronald Reagan saying ketchup is a vegetable for the purposes of school.
But did he literally say that, or did they say that?
He didn't really say it.
Because remember when Congress said pizza was a vegetable? It's not real.
Yeah.
What they did was they voted as to whether or not the amount of sauce on a slice of pizza constituted a serving of vegetables. And they determined it did. Well, and then what you get in the media is they lie about everything. And they're like, Congress said pizza's a vegetable. No, they did not.
They said that no, I mean, when I make pomodoro sauce at home or when I make pesto, that's the vegetable. Like, I don't add a vegetable. That's the vegetable.
I heard kimchi also gets microplastics out of your system.
Really?
Kimchi is great.
I don't own a kimchi company, nor my sponsor. Actually, no, we did have a sponsor that sold kimchi once.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you need to start one.
When I was little, I wasn't a big fan.
We'll just start burying kimchi in the yard.
It's great.
It's just so good.
Great.
It's great.
I literally just brought up because this conversation reminded me of this thing I was reading where it was like the gut bacteria correlation between brain frog. You see, I have brain frog right now. I need some kimchi.
That's a new thing, a brain frog.
But it was like I was reading a thing about gut bacteria, exercise, like. You can just change your gut bacteria and all of a sudden you stop craving. Like everyone's doing Ozempic and all this stuff. I'm just thinking like, I don't know. I'm in Maha mode right now.
Change your gut bacteria by not taking the antibiotics that they prescribe to you every 45 seconds, every time you have a cold and they hit you with antibiotics and it knocks your gut out.
Kimchi though is different. Like if you're sick in the winter and you have a kimchi stew, you're going to get better fast.
This is a kimchi segment now.
Yeah.
There we go.
What is kimchi?
Wait, what?
Fermented.
I don't know what it is.
It's fermented like cabbage.
Yeah, it's got garlic, chili.
No,
phenomenal.
No, it's super spicy cabbage, and the way you make it
super spicy.
Well, I'm a white person. Sorry.
Yes, says the Asian guy.
It knocks you on your behind, Carter.
You bury it. You bury it for a while.
So it's like fermented, almost.
It's wild.
So good.
Weird food they eat over there. Like, do you ever watch soy sauce get made?
No, but it's fermented. You know.
So you take soybeans, you soak them overnight, you dry them out, you put flour on them, they mold, then you put them in a jar, seal it, and bury it. Mm-hmm. And like 3 months later, it turns into soy sauce.
But there's not, there's not a lot of cheese in Asia.
Yeah.
You know.
They just like we're gonna mold stuff.
A lot of cheese.
I think that's how they make
Europe.
members of Congress.
No.
Anyway, I totally derailed this conversation. Let's get back to the news. We got this post from Nick Sorter. Breaking, the DOJ has launched a full investigation into the state of New Jersey for unlawful dilution of American votes, per AAG Dillon. DOJ is moving to force New Jersey to hand over a copy of their entire voter roll after admitting to enrolling fraudulent voters. So this is actually, we've got the announcement from Mickey Sherrill. It's crazy they're coming out and admitting it, but I think I gotta say, I'm winning. Hashtag winning. You know, Donald
Big
Trump.
W for Donald Trump.
They can complain about him all day. The media can lie all day. But when he came out, when Mark Wayne Mullen came out and said, we're going to cut funding from these states, we're going to cut your grants unless you do this, they bend the knee.
Well, the other thing is Harmeet Dillon is one of the most
All-star.
underappreciated and most serious people in the administration.
Oh, she is my favorite.
Yes, first of all,
We loved her before she got in the
yeah,
indictment.
first of all, I was going to say, first of all, she's got an iron constitution. She's not afraid. I loved her when I tried to help her when she ran for RNC chair because she should have gotten that
She got
job.
shafted.
She got shafted. And then if you remember, before she was in DOJ, she was the lawyer for every conservative person that mattered.
Yeah, I
She
do
started
remember that.
she started a firm specifically to help conservatives
She's an
who
incredible-
were impacted by free speech
Incredible
restraint.
lady. And she
She
is,
represented Andy.
yeah, and she's scoring so many wins.
She's a bulldog on the Second Amendment.
Total
too. I love
bulldog.
Yeah.
It. Love it.
Yeah.
I
She
just
treats the Second Amendment like it's any other civil right. It's not treated like a second-class right.
I wish she was just AG.
She'd be good. I mean, Blanche isn't bad, but Harmeet Dillon is a killer.
I'm a fan of Blanche. He's I don't want to call him vanilla pudding. You know, like JD Vance, I call vanilla pudding. It's not an insult. Vanilla pudding is delicious. It's just, you know.
But Harmeet Dillon is kimchi.
Yes.
She's kimchi.
Exactly.
We're gonna make kimchi now. Like Tim, it's gonna be like a thing, like a virtue. like when we say fire, we're just gonna say
Just kimchi.
Yeah.
Well, Todd Blanche is not so much vanilla pudding. He's got a little, you know, some rainbow sprinkles on top. You know what I mean? Like,
He's
it's a
got
little bit more
like-
than vanilla because he gets a little bit more aggressive, and I appreciate it.
He's got some New York litigator in there.
Yeah, but you know, like vanilla pudding isn't an insult. When I say JD Vance is vanilla, that's a good thing. It's like I think that we have great prospects in 2028. If it's Rubio has been very, very good, and JD Vance has been very good, and I think vanilla pudding can go a long way with the American voter.
Maybe
because
vanilla
it's-
pudding with a little cinnamon in it describes Todd Blanche.
Wow, bro, rice pudding with a little cinnamon on top.
Rubio's
Rice pudding is
actually.
good, so long as you skip
man.
the raisins. I don't like the raisins.
No raisins. We don't
Tim
need-
Pool, the food edition of Tim Pool.
Food edition.
Yeah, but you're
Rubio's been
right.
surprisingly good.
How would
honestly,
craisins be,
was that?
though?
Rubio's been surprisingly.
I know
good.
Rubio's been fantastic.
He's really signed on to the agenda the president has set.
Who, Rubio?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
when,
a
done
stud.
really well.
before.
Also, there's nobody that can articulate
oh yeah, he's great.
conservative principles better than Rubio right now.
One of the things, too, that you can tell he's Gen X is he does 15 different jobs and he still shows up looking good.
Yeah.
And he's
that's
got
right.
like every job in the
That's
administration.
right. Sorry.
Fetterman could learn
Libby
something.
and I are in the Gen X is the only
So
generation that
Phil.
knows how to do
So
anything.
Phil.
Well, I mean, I'm Gen X myself, but Fetterman could learn something.
Tim is an
from Marco
honorary
Rubio.
Gen X.
Bro, isn't it wild? Fetterman saying he might quit the Democratic Party as well.
I really thought that was interesting. And over Israel,
His
I look.
you think DSA, too? I think that's part
The
of
DSA
it.
stuff is completely, well, let me put it this. I believe it is a requirement. If you are a regular American of any political persuasion, I mean, obviously you're not a communist. If you're a communist, you love it. But for like the liberals, they should be saying no to the DSA.
Well, they've been trying, they like sort of vaguely milquetoast tried to say no to the DSA, right? You had, what's his name? You can't even remember his name anymore. Hakeem Jeffries coming out sort of vaguely not endorsing. But once you had AOC on board with all of these people and then Mamdani won New York, suddenly the DSA is ascendant.
Yep.
And the thing about the DSA is they don't care about the Democrat Party. They just want to use the machine of the Democrat Party to get
take
their
them over.
candidates in.
Yep.
Right.
And you see what's her name, Malat Kiros
Yeah, in Colorado.
Colorado. She's a crazy person. What's his name? El Sayed in Michigan.
Michigan. He's cuckoo
You
for
have
Cocoa
the,
Puffs.
Claire Valdez and Daria Lisa Chevalier in New York. And these are all people who legit want to federalize housing. They want
Abolish the Senate.
they want to abolish the Senate.
They
want to
don't
get
even
rid of
realize that
private
you
property.
can't abolish
No,
the Senate.
they don't realize.
Article 5 of the Constitution, the only clause that cannot be changed by an amendment is the votes of the Senate. You can't change it without getting rid of the whole
Well, and you heard
Constitution.
what
That's
AOC
kind of the
said.
point, though, isn't it?
Well,
AOC
yes, that is.
said-
Thank you.
AOC said that it was Jim Crow. And you're like, the
the Senate
Senate?
was?
She's an
she said
imbecile.
The Senate was Jim Crow. And it's like, no, Jim Crow was, way later than the Senate. The Senate
You're on
was already
fire
in
tonight.
place. And they have this
Thank
notion that the Senate was created for rich people when really the Senate was created for their favorite thing of all, which is equity between the states.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
They're-
right.
The people that are critical of the Senate, specifically on the left, are absolute imbeciles. They're either dishonest or they're complete imbeciles. They're dishonest about their belief of what the Senate is supposed to do, or they're just
Imbeciles
they're
leading imbeciles.
ignorant. Yeah, it's incredible that again, the one thing that you can't change in the Constitution with an amendment is the Senate,
But
and they're just like, oh, we should get rid of the Senate. You people. To Tim's point, and to be fair, they actually do want to get rid of the whole
They
Constitution.
want to get
I
rid of the
do.
whole.
They do,
Yeah.
yes.
I have to. I just don't understand the Israel stuff, and what I mean by this is,
Read the chat;
How-
they'll tell you about it.
oh yeah, no. My point is, Fetterman's like, I refuse to be a member of a party that becomes the anti-Israel party, and my attitude is like, I have no problem if you like or even don't like Israel. My question is, why is that Fetterman's line? Why is that his red line? And for that matter, if this is so extremely important to both Democrats and Republicans at the highest level, I feel like they're not actually doing much about the issue of the U.S. alliance with Israel other than ignoring the populists who are critical of it and just trying to ram through an agenda that is supportive of Israel.
I will say that I thought J.D. Vance made a really good point on Rogan when he was talking about this last week. And he said, Israel's an ally. I support our allies. But it's not like it shouldn't be a ride or die situation.
That's
for
Japan should be the
American-
ride or die.
Well, that's what I mean. Like,
Japan.
Yeah.
You know,
is Japan ride or
Tim,
die?
first of all, if you remember, Ronald Reagan said, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party; the Democratic Party left me."
Indeed.
I think that's where Fetterman is. One of the reasons Fetterman may be saying this, I met with a China expert when I was in London recently. This lady's very renowned, and she said, "Do you know where all the Israel stuff's coming from?" And I said, "Well, yeah, Qatar, Iran, whatever." China. She said, "Thank you." She said, "Small beans. It's coming from the CCP because they see it's dividing the country.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and they're
it's-
pouring fire on it.
It's
That's
not
where
just
coming
that.
from.
China's been. This is so ridiculous. I get these people spamming on X saying that they say that I flip flopped because I've claimed Trump's war with Iran as 5D chess or whatever, which I haven't. But these people live in an absolutist world where if you are explaining a thing happening, it's support of it unless you attack them.
Yep.
So here's the issue. China has been cut off from, we have the hard number now, 44% of their oil imports since the start of the war with Iran. I am not suggesting it's good that we went to war with Iran or that we should persist. Actually, I think it would be good if we wound these things down. I think a lot of Americans agree. But it is true, China's been cut off. Now, China stands to gain if they cause political turmoil inside the country, which involves severing our relationship with Israel.
Yep.
That is not praise of Israel. This is a fact statement about the U.S. alliance with Israel and the military operations in the Middle East that have negatively impacted China and why China stands to gain if they get in the way of that. You are still allowed to not like Israel. That's not the point.
Can I take the bullets for you, Tim? I'll praise Israel in this way. I will openly praise Israel for this reason. The U.S., when we did go to war with Iran, found out very quickly that all these allies that we thought we had that normally would at least, come help the Gulf states with air defense or something, couldn't. The British couldn't get a ship out. The French, I don't even want to mention it. All our quote unquote NATO allies couldn't figure out how to do anything. It's in their economic interest not to have the oil cut off because a lot of the oil goes to Europe. Doesn't really affect the U.S. except it raises our own gas prices.
We've become the dominant energy exporter.
Right.
Despite the war being a net negative across the board, it has dramatically injured China. They're switching to electric vehicles now en masse.
Yep.
They are panicking. They're tapping into what is it? Their energy reserves across the board. They set this thing up knowing that this was a choke point for them, and they're hurt by it. Again, if there are people, you know why I'm just done with all the fake drama stuff on the internet?
It's such fake drama, like the Charlie thing.
Because if I
Yes,
were to
I
sit
said
down, I can sit down with Dave Smith or Scott Horton, and we can have a normal conversation about Israel.
Yep.
And they're going to be heated, and they're not fans. But at the end of it, we're having beers, we're eating pizza, everything's fine. The internet drama stuff is nowhere near there. It's like people are going to stab each other over these political issues.
Yes.
This is not real.
Don't you think that, look, I say this, I was friends with Charlie, you were friends with Charlie. Don't you think that all this Charlie stuff has hit that level or beyond?
Oh, you know what? Let's do this. I have a tweet. Let's pull it up.
That's a good tweet, by the way.
Well, because I made a segment about Brett Weinstein because he had made a comment. Let me see if I can find this post.
He was getting piled on today. I didn't.
Well, this is what it was largely about. Let me pull in this tweet and then I'll talk about it. Right. So I said, if you want to get amplified on YouTube and X, all you need to do is claim the official story of Charlie Kirk's assassination is a cover-up and there's a conspiracy. Why is social media amplifying this so much? Why does big tech want this narrative to be front and center? Alex Jones made claims about Sandy Hook and was destroyed. His company sold off to try to humiliate him. What's the difference? You can claim one story is true, but the other results in your company's total annihilation. YouTube has rules around conspiracies. Specifically, they restrict conspiracy claims and amplify what they call authoritative news sources. Why is YouTube boosting these videos in the algorithm? Why does the machine want this narrative so badly? Contrast this with COVID. You get demonetized instantly if you talked about COVID in the early days. We couldn't even read news reports out of China that discussed the basics. Now, let me stress. In January of 2020, on my Timcast channel, we saw videos of people in China collapsing. I saw a news report. It was not big news. And I said, I'll do a video about this. Sounds interesting. I got an email from YouTube, a rep saying, you cannot cover this and demonetize the video. No joke. And I went, wow. Well, you know what I'm going to do?
I guess you're onto something.
No. I just said, they were like, we don't want sensationalism and fear and panic. I said, well, I'm going to cover the news even if I lose the money. So I kept reporting on it. When it popped up, by March, it was a big story in the United States. During this period, for 2 years, if you said definitively that the virus came from the Wuhan lab, demonetized, strike, removed, YouTube came out and said, we have a new policy in place. Only authoritative news sources will appear in search on these topics. Overnight, they erased podcasts. Alex Jones is not allowed to have a channel. Mm-hmm. He can't even have a new channel. His transgression was so severe, he is never allowed to have a social media channel on YouTube ever again. Yet, despite the fact that if it comes to climate change, flat Earth, hollow Earth, geocentrism, YouTube explicitly states all of these will be deranked, demonetized, and they will put corrections under every single one. But not the Charlie Kirk conspiracies.
Why don't they?
Those have a free pass.
What was your?
Why?
Did you have an answer to your own question?
I can say this. I can peddle in speculation, for which I believe that, sure, that's fine. Everyone's allowed to present their hypotheses. What I can say is there is no definitive understanding as to why YouTube and lesser X, because Elon lost a lot of things on X. But why it is that YouTube has, look, I'll put it this way. It's not just a lack of restrictions, it's promotion. The RPMs on content related to Erica Kirk and the Charlie Kirk assassination conspiracy theories rivals that of finance, the most lucrative sector in advertising.
Why?
I don't know.
So look, it's always the simple answer. I'm going to go out there on a limb, Tim. It hurts the right. It's right on right. It's right on right violence. The lefties aren't arguing about Charlie Kirk. They don't care. They're glad he's gone.
Yeah,
but no, they're loving it as well because it hurts the right.
It hurts the right.
Because here's the way it works. And I would say this is an excellent hypothesis. For a lot of these people on the right, they are grifters. No joke. I believe there is a tendency on the left, or I should say it's a generality on the left and a tendency on the right. That's about right.
No, the left is committed to what they believe.
Some
right
people on the right
the algorithm
are grifters.
Yeah.
Most people on the left I would describe as grifters.
Yep.
Meaning that many of these liberals that claim to want to debate, you have to pay them. They're not interested in actually an ideology. They're interested in their jobs. Whereas people on the right are begging to espouse their ideology. But this does mean that there are many people on the right who are grifters. Now, here's the exploit. Create a lucrative path, but that path is insanity and absurdity, and you will drive all of the grifters in that direction, and it will cause a rift among the right instead of unity on the right.
If you take away, Libby, I know you're going to back me on this. If you take away Israel and Charlie Kirk, what does Candace have to talk about?
Ryan
Brigitte
Reynolds.
Macron?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, Brigitte.
No, yeah,
and
Ryan
Le
Reynolds.
Pen's going to be Le Pen's going to be running France. Please God.
And who is Ryan Reynolds' wife?
Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, Candace's big thing was Ryan Reynolds.
forget what her name is.
Come on, the actress that
Yeah.
that sued Justin Baldoni. I even know.
Yeah,
his
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Oh,
Lively?
yeah, I know you're talking.
Yes.
Blake Lively?
That was
Blake
her
Lively.
big thing.
Blake
That
Lively.
was?
And then she did the Macron stuff. And then we get the Charlie stuff. And it's just every day it one-ups the absurdity and the lies and the manipulations. And what they do is, I have no problem with anyone asking questions about the Tyler Robinson, how he did it, who else may have been involved. There's a lot of evidence and loose ends that have not been tied up. And we have no obligation to just believe whatever it is the FBI or law enforcement is telling us. I want to see the evidence. So present for me anything positive and we'll go in that direction.
There
what
was
they'll
20
do is,
hours of evidence presented during the preliminary hearing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so I think it's fair to say that we have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, at least in my opinion, presented to the public, that Tyler Robinson is the assassin. However, I also think there's other people involved. I think we've got loose ends that we can't account for, and I think those questions are fine and fair. That being said, the narratives that we've gotten, I think it was Robbie Starbuck put out a great video, it was an hour long, where he broke down.
Love Robbie.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories from 7 months ago, they're all pretending like they never said. And now they've got the man in the bushes.
Right.
What about the man in the bushes? There was a bush, remember? Oh, but actually Charlie was killed by the lav mic. But there was a man in the bushes with a gun.
The self-exploding, yeah.
It's because, I'm just asking questions. Right, the problem is the questions imply. So Brett Weinstein got a lot of flack because he said, why the cover-up? Implying there is one.
Right.
When there's no evidence of one.
There hasn't been any indication that there's a cover-up. Everything has been so open.
There are
Again,
unanswered
Tim, though,
questions.
You're bringing up a very important point about why isn't the conspiracies from months ago? It's the same thing.
They've been erased.
Because that you got your algorithm boost from doing that. That's over. You got to find a new outrage. Isn't it that simple?
Yeah. I think.
I mean, you can go look at every single court document that's been filed. You just create an account with the Utah court. I have access to it right now.
Here's what I said earlier today when I was talking about this drama and these grifters. When the Covington kids 7 years ago, was it 7 years ago? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, something like that.
When that video went viral, and there were even conservatives condemning this kid.
Yep.
And he was just standing there. He didn't say a word.
I got sent these videos, and I was told, like, bro, do you see this? You got to call this kid out. And I said, I don't understand what's happening.
What did he do?
And they were like, he's got in the face of this Native American, and he's
literally
smirking at him.
standing there.
And I responded, this is a video of two people standing in front of each other. I don't know who did what. Most people jumped the gun and just assumed this young kid, this teenager, got in his face.
What did they say? They said he
found
had a
the video.
smackable face. They said he was
They were going to punch him. We found the video,
punchable.
the full live stream video, and then I made a segment. I was like, this is what really happened. The Native American walked up to him. I do not come out and just say a thing is because everyone says a thing is. And so what's happening now with all of this stuff, I still will not do that. I will not come out and say this is true, that is true, or otherwise. But because they're getting clicks, because YouTube is promoting it, and they're getting massive ad dollars from it, people don't care what's true. They're going after what makes money.
Do you know Lucas? Do you know Lucas Miles? Anybody runs Turning Point Faith? Lucas tweeted today something along the lines of, "This is like news porn."
Yeah,
you know, like it's
one-upping it every day.
Yes,
because
it's just news porn.
It's like when baby Jessica fell down the well and no one could look.
I will say there's the worst thing to have happened to the populist right, which includes the moderates who align with Trump and even libertarians. The worst thing was the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who unified so many people.
Yes, he did. Getting
people like Ian on stage with people like Michael Knowles. Like you've got staunch Catholics, you got wackaloon hippie moonlords like Ian. Anarchists like Luke. Cenk Uygur was at Turning Point. Charlie was this powerful guy. After we lost him, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I have questions. I have a question for you. Maybe you can help me out here, Matthew. Why did Candace go down this route where she is doing seemingly everything, whether intentionally or otherwise, to destroy Turning Point? Now that's a speculative question. You can only surmise as to her emotional state. But why is it that after knowing a guy for 17 days and never having been on a date with him, she married him off a phone call? Who happens? So she meets a guy. They didn't go on a single date. And then she marries into a family of British lords. And her lawyers work in a building with federal agents in Delaware. I'm just wondering why that is.
You're just asking questions.
I'm just asking. I mean, these are legitimate questions. These are not joke questions. They're not conspiracy. This is true. Candace Owens' lawyers work out of the same building as the federal agent's office in Delaware, and that was a huge story at the time. And the story of her marriage to George is that they met within 17 days after having never been on a date. He called her and said, "Let's get married." And she said yes. So she married into a family of British lords, ultra wealthy. Hired lawyers who work at a building with federal agents, and immediately started attacking Turning Point's management, their executive staff, and now is accusing Charlie's own wife. I tell you this, the two worst things to have ever happened to the populist right, first, obviously the death of Charlie.
Yes.
But following this, everything Candace has done has been a volley of assaults on the right, to the point where in December, replying to me, she said, quote, "We don't care about your midterms." When I said what she is doing is demoralizing.
First of all, who's we?
Well, that's what she does.
Well,
Who's your?
But Candace, first of all, Tim, Candace is not part of the right. Second of all, I don't know if you guys knew this, but George, who I get along with just fine, George's father in the UK is the head of the Christian-Jewish Alliance. So he actually came out and had to distance himself from his crazy daughter-in-law on X, and basically
I think
saying
it's
crazy stuff.
Why did they get married?
It's a question, and also here's another question. She converted to Catholicism recently.
Yeah, Michael Knowles is
What was
the
she before?
godfather.
Hard to get a
of one of her
divorce.
children.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
They're friends.
But I guess the other question is,
Everything's fake.
Tim, you don't actually consider. Here's a question to your question. Do you consider Candace and Tucker to be on the right? Because I'd say, if I looked at what they say, I'd put them on the left.
I got in this argument with Kyla Turner. I said Candace is a liberal because
Or a leftist. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about a leftist. My point is, when you look at her career holistically, she has been moderate liberal the whole time. She was anti-conservative. She had social autopsy. She doxed people on the right. She was very woke. Then she joins Daily Wire and has this brief period, which was only a few years, where her politics seemed to invert. But now she's back to Republicans are bad all over again. And her audience consists largely of white liberal women, which is why she has the Stanley mug and all of that stuff. Now, Tucker, I would say, is right. He's just different, right? And he's been praising J.D. Vance. So for whatever his stance is, I find Tucker to be dishonorable. And I would say it to his face. I'm not saying that to start a fight with him.
But when you say right, Tim, one question I have is, when I listen to...
Well, right doesn't mean...
His economic policies seem to me to be very socialist.
The economic...
These are different spectrums. These are different
the economic vector right now is very, particularly with young people, like, it's almost like the only people that are fiscally conservative at all are like the libertarian people. The people on the right that are not libertarian aligned, like it's almost like everyone has thrown their hands up in the air and said, the government's never going to be fiscally responsible. Doesn't matter if it's Republicans. It doesn't matter if it's Republicans or Democrats. They're never going to actually fix the. They're never actually going to fix. They're never actually going to fix the problems. You're just going to keep. We're $39 trillion in debt. Like, it's never going to happen. So if that's the case, if that's the case, then there is no point in trying to even speak to people, the American public, voting public. There's no point in even trying to speak to people about fiscal conservatism. It's better to go.
We're just going to drive off
because everyone's heard it, everyone knows, no one believes it. So it's better to go to another way to court the right. And I mean, look, personally, I think that it's bad, but at the end of the day, nowadays you've got people on the right that are like, look, there should be social programs for Americans. They're the nationalist right. Some people would say that they're some people call them the Nazis or whatever, but like the people I don't know about the halal right. I'm not sure what that means, but either way, the point that I'm making is people like Nick Fuentes, they're like, we'll spend money on Americans, right? And then you've got the left, which are completely and totally down for socialism. So the idea of an actual conservative an economically conservative right wing. That's old hat. That's boomer stuff, and it's going away because even those boomers don't actually believe in social conservative because they said, I paid into Social Security and I want my money. So they don't care about fixing.
Whereas
we
all know we're not getting Social Security.
Yeah, I mean, it's not happening. The boomers aren't going to give up the money that they're supposed to get for Social Security. Even though they're never pay, they didn't pay in as much as they owe, and they know that Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are the drivers of our debt.
But the reason we're not going to get Social Security, we may all agree we're not, but I think we're not going to get we're not going to get it for different reasons that you think.
I think it's going to collapse.
I think we're going to be too busy scavenging the refuse of rubble, war-torn cities, and making makeshift armor and avoiding the radioactive. I'm half kidding, but I think that what we're looking at potential war with China, which is going to dramatically alter our economic systems when we enter a wartime economy. I think that the probability of war with China is extremely high.
Well, don't you think we're at war with China already?
Yes, but it's not kinetic.
It's a Cold War. Right. It's not kinetic
and
yet.
they've been stealing our IP. They've been trying to manipulate us.
They're arming
propaganda.
Iran right now.
Indeed. And Trump's war with Iran has cut off China from 44%. That's the hard number. We have the hard number. So we speculated it's this. We now know definitively that China has lost 44% of its oil imports since the start of this war. They're not going to sit around forever because they know they're getting choked out. So I think in the next few years, the probability of a large-scale kinetic conflict with China is highly probable. We will shift to a wartime economy, which is going to dramatically change everything. Social Security may not even exist at that point. They're going to say, nope, we're putting money in copper at this point. Sorry, old folks.
I'm going to invest in the Japanese robot armies, which I think are going to save.
I recommend that you invest in bullets. Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, all them good things.
It's not a bad idea to have, some food stored up and some way to purify water and have some.
We have, Life Straw is.
Yes, Life Straw is amazing.
We have a bunch of those.
That's amazing.
You know what was really funny?
I have a Life Straw filter in
we've
my
been talking about
fridge.
this for years. Let me ask you this question. What is something that is seemingly innocuous that would be extremely hard for an individual to produce? It's something that is not particularly valuable now, but in a war economy or a fractured, a collapsed country, it would be the most valuable thing.
Besides water?
Well, you get water from a well.
Okay.
I'm talking about, we went over this quite a bit, like something that's extremely difficult to produce on your own, but extremely easy and worthless right now that you could buy a lot of. So I have an answer because we went over this years ago, but I'm curious what you think. Like the point being, like, let's say all the factories shut down, Amazon's gone, and you're like, man.
I'm thinking something in the medicine category. Is that what you're getting at?
So
Antibiotics would be useful.
they expire, but yes, we settle on antiseptics. They're dirt
that's
cheap.
good.
It's pennies for gallons, but it's not particularly easy.
Like Lysol kind of thing.
Mouthwash.
Mouthwash. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
and like hydrogen peroxide and stuff, or what honey.
Yeah, right. For anything, a cut, anything like that.
Rubbing alcohol.
Alcohol, period, would also be.
So getting alcohol is
You could
not
distill
particularly
it.
difficult.
You'd have to figure out how to distill things.
Yeah, and you'll need glass and on your
special
own in the
kind
middle of the
of
woods.
glass.
Not super
Tim,
easy to do.
I did bring you some scotch, so I did my job.
Well, it depends on the alcohol, by volume. And scotch typically does not have, although it can be used as antiseptic for sure.
Everclear is the choice.
Also, Tim, what about
you could
ivermectin?
Moonshine.
It's pretty cheap right now for animals and stuff, and it's
as
so
an
effective.
anti-parasitic, that is a nuclear bomb in a post-apocalypse,
Yep.
post-apocalyptic world. There, yeah,
I actually wonder that.
bullets. But everybody knows bullets.
Yeah. I don't know that we're that
Bullets will be
close
currency.
to such things.
The joke was that
77 grain OTM.
the joke is that after the apocalypse, when bullets become currency, I'm going to go to Phil's store and there'll be customers shopping as a grocery store. And I'll be like, yeah, just the onions and the gallon of milk. And Phil's going to be like, that's going to be 1,000 grain. And I'll be like, all right. And I'm going to pull out a handful of bullets and I'm going to count the grain and be like, all right. And then I'm going to hand him a couple 9mm and maybe a 50 BMG. And then he'll be like, I can't give you change for the 50. And it's like, okay, hold on. What about 2 308s? Oh, yeah, I can break that. Takes a 308 and he gives you 2 9mm.
It'd be
Like during
interesting to look at
COVID when the-
Ukraine.
Toilet paper was currency.
Yes, that's right. It'd be interesting to look at Ukraine, which is a war-torn country, and what the economy is like there, and what people are trading, and what people are.
I don't know that Ukraine. I mean, the concept of the U.S. being in some kind of serious war that requires the kind of sacrifices that Americans made in World War II, that is totally different than a regional war in Ukraine. Like the people in Ukraine, where I'm sure they have to make sacrifices, I'm sure that it's hard living in that under those conditions, but at the same time, there's a whole world that's
pouring
basically
aid into there.
and also functioning normally.
Right.
Like if the U.S. and China were to get into a conflict, the whole world changes because China sells everything to everybody, whether it be high quality stuff or not, whether you like the quality of the things you're getting. But like if China got into a war, like all the women across the West are going to hate that they can't get their Shein orders, right? Like stuff like that. It's going to affect the whole world. Whereas Ukraine, it might affect people regionally, but I mean, in the U.S., people don't actually see anything. And if you have, the two biggest economies on Earth in a hot conflict, it's going to affect everybody, in ways that we can't predict.
Don't you think that that's part of our problem as Americans is that we haven't really had to feel any pain? People in other countries do.
Oh, bro.
We're soft. We're naive.
The GDP per capita in the U.S. is $94,000.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting everybody lives at that level. Some people live less, but we have clean running water, hot showers. We live like kings relative to the rest of the world.
Of course we do.
And we complain about it.
Well, that's one thing that I think is so interesting about you have AOC and others in the DSA advocating to, Milat Kuros, I think, advocating to increase what's considered poverty. So right now, poverty is 3 times the cost of food. If that's what you have as income, if that's what you have, then you're considered living in poverty. And they want to adjust that so that it's not just three times the cost of food, but cost of childcare, housing, and healthcare. So that what they were saying is poverty should be minimum, or you should be making, if you're making $45,000 a year, they want you to be considered in poverty. And I think that's absolutely insane. I mean, my first job out of college, I was making $17,000 a year, and I was not living in poverty. I had like a nice apartment. I always had fresh food. There was never any issue. I did whatever I wanted. I mean, $45,000, like, it's not a ton of money, but it's definitely not poverty.
Poverty, Libby, is only getting an iPhone 17 and not getting an iPhone 17.
It's just relative. Yeah. Every year that life improves,
but I don't think that's at all reasonable.
Staying where you are, you feel impoverished.
Libby, the average income in the UK, right, in US dollars is $4,300 a month. So that would put most of the UK.
I just think that's absolutely
Japan.
crazy.
Like our monthly salaries on average are like 4 times higher than the Japanese.
Mississippi, which has the lowest GDP in the country, still has higher GDP than many, many nations.
All of Europe.
Yes, that's what it is.
In fact, the UK is the median is $3,089.
But could you imagine,
so the median income in the UK is less than the money that you're
driving
talking
a
about.
used car, you're living in an apartment, you're eating fresh food, you're getting to your job, you have healthcare, housing, you have a big screen TV, you have an iPhone, you have whatever you need. You're still going to get, you're still going out to dinner once a week. And somehow that's poverty. I mean, when Lyndon Johnson did his war on poverty, there were people sewing patches on their patches and starving.
Yeah.
Like that's what poverty was.
Libby, that was the war on white privilege,
It's like that Caleb Hammer clip where the socialist says, he asks her, how many people do you believe are reliant on federal minimum wage? And she goes, 30%. He's like, it's less than 1%. Like, we are a wealthy nation.
Super rich. We're super rich.
And nobody's got purpose, though.
Walk into the grocery store.
No faith.
No. But if you walk into any grocery store, not just the like fancy grocery stores, but any little grocery store, a bodega in New York City, the bounty is like, I'm constantly amazed by this. I don't know why exactly, but I've always been really just blown away by the amount of fresh produce we have in the grocery store. Like, you walk in, it's absolutely stunning.
It's a drag when I go to the grocery store and I can't get cherries because they're out of season. Like the idea of getting cherries, like
there are like 5
different.
There are like 5 different brands of pre-made guacamole at our Food Lion.
That's the Food Lion.
And Food Lion's the low budget grocery store.
It's not bad.
It's a perfectly fine grocery store.
I'm saying.
But
that's the bounty
point.
That's the bounty at
You're not even at the Wegmans.
So I think it's fair to say that
that's the fancy grocery
there
store.
are people that are struggling. And though we have a lot of choices in the grocery store, we still have high rents and expensive houses. So while we are wealthier relative to the world, I understand that people don't want to be stressed 24/7 because they're living paycheck to paycheck. I understand that. But I'm just saying, I think the bigger issue actually is no kids. People used to work a lot more because they had kids. Now they work just enough and they're unhappy and they have no purpose. Nope.
100%. I think if you don't have kids, you have no idea how selfish of a person you are. Having kids teaches you unselfishness, selflessness, because you're living your life for somebody else, and every action that you take is for somebody else.
You know what I think?
Because change that
I
dirty
think
diaper, old man.
I've got some friends, and I've talked to some
Charlie
people
Kirk.
who are middle-aged, and they don't have families, they don't have wives, they don't have kids, and they are listless, and they're rather nihilistic. And you know what I think? I think there's actually a tendency among humans around middle age to kind of be bored. But here's the thing. I'm relatively bored in a certain sense. And that is, I've been to maybe like 38 different countries. There's just some countries I don't care to go to. I've went to most of the countries that I ever want to go to, and
Iran
some
is really nice this time of year.
I tried to go for Vice. We were, because Vice had done a bunch of these things.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but we never got close to doing it. They wanted me to go to Eritrea, but I don't really have interest in those countries. Let me just say, there are still things that I want to do. There are still passions that I have, but for the most part, I've seen the movie 1,000 times. I've been to the bar 1,000 times. So, to a certain respect, much of this has become mundane, but I have a wife and I have a daughter, and there's something interesting that happens. And let me put it like this. I think, on average, your middle-aged person is going to be listless, purposeless, and rather nihilistic to a certain degree. I'm not saying completely. Not everybody is. Now, if you have no family, what does that translate into?
No purpose.
Depression?
Yeah.
Anger? Now, what if you have a family? It transforms itself into duty.
Yep.
I am not concerned with whether or not I'm going to take a luxury cruise vacation. Been there, done that. I am not concerned about flying first class to Japan to go explore Tokyo. Been there, done that. See, now I'm dying. So, my point is, at my age, I've skated a million times. I've watched every skate video. I've done all the tricks that I can do. I've played probably millions of hands of poker. I've played all of these different games and sports and done all these things. And so it's kind of like, I could, I guess. But I have a family that needs to be taken care of, and now my concerns shift to them. But what if you don't have that? You're just like, I really don't care for life. Okay. Well, then you just have listless, angsty, and depressive middle-aged people. And I think there's a lot of millennials who don't have kids and don't have significant others.
They have this misplaced maternal and paternal instinct where they think that where they don't know what to do with all of these feelings,
And they
right?
start voting.
So they start voting and
Oh,
trying
no.
to take
I have
care
an
of
idea for
all
that.
of the little people around them who they think are so impoverished because they only make $45,000 a year.
I read a
What
crazy
happened
story.
to Big Brothers Big Sisters? That was
Right? Or
happened to them?
AmeriCorps. I think
I
they're
read
just all
a,
communist, and that's the problem.
Yes.
I read the story, and it was a PSA from an organization that tries to bring awareness to parents leaving their kids in their cars.
yeah.
It was a horror story. It was the most terrifying story I ever read.
Yeah, this guy just got stoned and left his daughter in the car, and she
So
died.
this story is worse than that.
Seriously?
A husband and wife
Oh.
took turns dropping the kid off at daycare. One day, the wife had to go into work, so she asked the husband, although it was her day to do it, can you drop our young toddler son off at daycare? And he said, yeah, you got it. I'll do it before work. So he leaves, and a few hours later, she gets a call from the daycare saying they never arrived. So she calls her husband. He doesn't answer, and she texts him saying, where are you? And he says, I'm at work. And she says, where is our son? And he doesn't get back to her. The next text she gets is go to the hospital. The dad, it wasn't his normal day to drop the kid off, had the kid in his back of the car who fell asleep. He drove, slipped his mind, went to work, got out of his car, and it was a couple hours in the office on a hot day, and his son died.
That's so
And then when he came out and found out what happened, and the kid was dead, he killed himself on the spot.
yeah.
That's a horror story.
That's a horror story.
Now, imagine that this person could not live anymore without his own child. Imagine you have someone who is at a similar age who never had one. And so they are like, you know, how do I describe this? It's like, I'm not saying this is every single person. To those of you out there who didn't have kids and don't want to have kids, I am not saying you are like this. I'm saying there are people who are 40 who feel like zombies because they have nothing to live for anymore. Been there, done that, experienced it, and they live now for nothing and no one. So they're in this limbo of existence without purpose, without drive, without sacrifice, without duty. I think this lends itself to the cultural decay and the conflicts that we're seeing in this country.
Well, Elon Musk is constantly talking about birth rates. And look, you guys know this, but I'm going to repeat it. I sometimes feel like God must be really frustrated because the Bible has a very simple formula. Grow up, be raised well, get married, have babies, watch your babies have babies, grow old, have wisdom.
Babies have babies.
That's a fulfilling life. We don't know why, but we know God that made us that way. The other thing, Tim, that you're making a brilliant point of, think about this. In the old world, let's say even 200 years ago, life expectancy was probably, 50? If you were really old, maybe you made it to 70, like Ben Franklin. So to your point, by the time you're in your midlife now, you're an old person. You've been there, done that, seen it all. Solomon said there's nothing new under the sun. Totally makes sense, right? So the only thing that's fulfilling is to pass the wisdom on that you earned to the next generation and to know that they have it.
I am more afraid of living without my family than I am of dying.
Of course.
And
of course,
like we talked about this last week. I've understood this. I've empathized with these stories. It is obvious to see the pain in a person, a mother or father's eyes when their child is taken from them. But I understood that, you know, to a father or a mother, the reason why they're willing to sacrifice themselves or why the mother gets like a 10x increase in strength, you know, like the stories of the mom who lifts the car off her child, tearing her muscles to shreds.
Yep.
It's because we fear losing our loved ones more than anything bad happening to us. Now, I say that knowing full well that there are parents out there who've been parents much longer than I, who have known this much longer than I and experienced it much longer than I. What I am just saying is imagine somebody who doesn't have somewhere to place that, meaning they don't care about whether they live or die because they're bored. They're listless and purposeless, and they have nothing to serve or protect. What does that person become? And I think we see two things. We see demoralized, bored gluttons. Not everybody. God, I'm just, you know, it's not about you. I'm saying there are people who are gluttonous, listless, bored, lazy. And then there are people who are desperate for that purpose and they'll attach to whatever they can. And we see the communists. Mm-hmm. They are wealthy. They live in the wealthiest country. They are not by any stretch historically impoverished, but they're angry and they need something to fight.
I mean, yeah. I don't know.
That's it.
I mean,
that's the secret to life.
No, think about it, because this is what conservatives always say. That if you look, there was a poll that I helped work on a couple of years ago, and they asked this question of conservatives and then lefties. Talk about your political engagement. And conservatives said, I vote.
Yeah.
And by the way,
the whole thing.
Yay, thank you. And the lefties said basically every single day, I take some kind of action to change the world.
That's the
we always say among conservative circles that, like, we're all raising our families, making money, helping our kids be good members of society. And the other side, if you look at a lot of the demographics, J.D. Vance's cat ladies, are just people, to your point, Tim, that are not engaged with their families. So you're going to pour your passions elsewhere. And that is to reshaping society.
Well, part of
right?
that too, yeah, but part of that reshaping of society also is because with the eradication of God in contemporary American life, these are people who, to Tim's point, don't have a purpose in life. They don't have families. They don't have any of that stuff to drive them. And so they're looking for meaning in every conceivable area. And so they plug in political action to everything, right? So it's political action. When you're at the food line, you're not going to buy these tomatoes. You're going to buy these other tomatoes. So, you're not going to buy these sneakers. You're going to buy these other sneakers. You're going to buy the iPhone because you don't care that slaves made the iPhone. It doesn't matter to you. But anything else, you're going to be, right, Chinese slaves, right. Anything else, you're going to be as politically engaged as you can in everything. I remember, even think of like the old Woody Allen film. I forget which one it was, but he's like, "Oh, I thought we weren't supposed to eat grapes anymore," and they're like, "No, that was last month." And he's, "Oh, what are we not eating now?" What are
Do you know that in China, the rule, the unwritten rule is the CCP will put out propaganda every week, right? Mm-hmm. And the way that you show that you are in vogue with the party is you have to repeat the propaganda of this week.
Oh.
If you get caught repeating the propaganda of last week, you could be in trouble. That's old news. You have to use this week's line, and it doesn't matter if it conflicts with last week's.
Yeah.
Because the point is that you're showing adherence to the CCP, and if they say last week we said it was waffles good, and this week we say waffles bad, you need to know that waffles bad is the new talking point.
Well, that's 1984.
Yes.
Brave New World.
Yes.
That's all of the rest of it.
Well, they tried doing it here, and we saw that during COVID.
Right, and it didn't.
Every week
work
it made no
entirely.
sense.
Yeah.
2 masks now, right? 90%
Fauci
effective,
said
80%
you didn't need
effective.
masks at first,
Yep.
remember?
Well,
And then they started
That
wearing
too.
2 masks.
the reason
Right.
they said that you didn't need masks is because they wanted to make sure that the people that worked in hospitals and stuff had enough masks because they were afraid.
But also,
because China shut everything down, they were afraid that we weren't.
Gavin Newsom
remember
was
the
too busy
6
buying
feet?
masks
Remember
from
the
China.
6 feet? The 6 feet.
Oh yeah, that was
social
BS.
distancing.
Total BS.
That basically had to do with something that was, that they came up with in the Middle Ages for plague.
Yeah, they made it up.
It
They
was
said there's no data
totally-
to suggest this works.
No, there was absolutely nothing. The little circles, none of it. But
And everybody
that's
was
why I
walking-
think that's
walking different
something
directions
that's so,
down the-
you're right,
down the
so
aisles.
stupid.
Do you guys
That's one
feel
thing
like
that's so important, though, that I think is forgotten is that's why having an understanding of what you believe and why, and always being willing
Yeah,
to
that's right.
interrogate your beliefs, to understand what you believe, why you believe it, to figure that out. That's the entire thing. I mean, that way you can be standing on a rock while everyone around you is on shifting
It's
sand.
literally why I'm not a libertarian anymore.
It's the whole point. Yes.
Because libertarianism is, at the end of the day, libertarianism is just as fantastical as
Sure.
communism is.
Well, and no political party is going to provide you meaning or answers. And no political party actually has a steadfast value system. They have a system that they are using at this point to attain power. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's
And-
why it's
But
up to us to
to what
believe
end,
things and
I
understand
ask?
it.
No, I mean the communists
Wait.
gain power, and then what?
Well,
these
you know,
these people are
these are
listless
really good
and
questions.
purposeless, and what are
If
they
the
going to do?
communists
Because
gain
they
power,
don't
it's
realize
breadlines.
that
I understand
power
what
does not
happens.
have any meaning in itself. Like there is no
I'm
meaning
saying,
in power.
what do they do after nothing changes, everything falls apart? It's just.
That's when the killing starts, Tim.
But I understand it's a product of it. I'm saying those with power, what do they actually do? Like what? Nothing's going to change for you.
No, remember what they did during
They'll
COVID?
extract-
They had orgies and they broke their own rules
making
and
money.
they didn't care.
But is
They had orgies.
the
They
core
did.
of
You
your
remember
question, do they
you
really
remember? You
believe
guys
what they're
remember that?
saying? Is that kind of
No, it's the smart people who are implementing this. What is their vision going to be? Because the smart people doing it know it doesn't work.
They
Right,
think
but
they'll be
they're-
at the top.
They're going to stop.
Making the
They're going to
calls.
stop caring about the vision. Like literally during COVID, you had the guy who was proclaiming social distancing all through New York City, having sex parties.
yeah,
Right.
So it's
To let off steam. So, and that's what we look at.
Libby,
that's what we look
it's
at.
champagne communism.
Yes, of course it
Champagne
is.
communism.
Would AOC have any other kind?
Yes. What is it? Some are equal, but some are more equal than others.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's always the way that it ends up,
Yes,
though.
that's
It's
the way it
there.
ends up.
It's supposed because when you listen to people that are socialists now, they're always talking about the working class and blah blah blah. They're not in the working class. They have never been in the working class.
Well, all of these people, their claim to their experience, what they say is on their resume, is that they were organizers. They were community organizers, which basically means going around knocking off doors, telling people to show up at rallies and marches.
Well, and paying them to march.
Right, and paying them to register
Now,
to
here's
vote.
an interesting wrinkle in your guys' theory. Mamdani is an Islamunist. He's a
Islamunist.
He's a terrorist communist. And from Mamdani and people of his ilk, that's where I'm sort of exploring that in my brain because it's a different goal. He wants total power, but he wants total power. He's Shia, he wants total power so he can bring about the apocalypse. Which is a weird way to go, but that's the goal.
I think his goals are destruction. Right now, his goal is we need to destroy the United States.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to tear it apart from the inside.
Yes.
Afterwards, there's an ideological goal, but for now, everything he's doing is how can we harm these people the most?
Right. He hates the United States. He hates the city he's in charge of, and he's trying to deconstruct it.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And well, let's do this. I have this from Nate Silver. This is very fascinating. Income and education are usually positively correlated, but sometimes the relationship breaks down. What's the most Democratic voting group in America? People with postgraduate degrees but lower to middle incomes. Do you know what that means? It means low competency.
It also means... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So these are people who don't have the capability or the merit, pursued a degree because they were told to and paid for it, but cannot convert it into meaningful income.
How many of those degrees are in feminist studies?
Well,
probably a lot.
A lot of them. Also theater, which I studied.
And gender studies.
But the other thing, too, this is why the president just announced that plan to pull funding from any degree granting programs where the graduates do not earn more than a high school graduate.
Right, because it's ultimately not resulting in making them productive members of society.
Exactly. There's no reason to have these.
Why would you do that?
I remember people that I graduated with from grad school in theater, which, okay. But anyway, people I graduated with were complaining that artists were not getting a living wage. And I was like, what part of the artist myth are you guys missing here?
Unreal.
It's called a starving artist for a reason.
It's called a starving artist for a reason. Like, you go hustle, go wait some tables, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did you think that art came with a minimum wage? It just doesn't. That's why so many people go into teaching.
I bet there's a lot of folklore and mythology
that
degrees
fail.
in that bracket.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
And they fail, and then they do
that's what I'm
something
saying,
else.
Tim. I would love to see
go into media.
a breakdown of what those postgraduate degrees are, because it's got to be a who's who of the most useless. Why does any school have this?
All humanities department.
Not all humanities departments.
They're all from the humanities.
Yeah, they all are from the humanities department. Yes.
I remember back in the day, I was a producer on this TV show that nobody on this. Well, you'll remember, Libby, and I remember
and all of you guys, I bet.
Okay, I was on the McLaughlin Group, which was like the original talk show.
McLaughlin
Okay,
Group.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm producing this show, and one of the producers on the show.
I even remember the SNL sketches about the McLaughlin Group.
Legendary. And I'm looking at this brochure from George Washington University, and it says, pay us $90,000 a year, and you'll get to do this, 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 and this. And then I'm getting paid, and I'm actually doing this, 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 and this. And from that, I realized, wait a minute, at least for that degree, grad school's a scam. Like, they're purporting to teach me something that I'm actually learning on the job. And the other thing would be interesting, Tim, to know is, are the enrollments in those kind of programs keeping up? Because I'm going to guess they're not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
But it's fascinating. I don't think that there's a correlation between getting a degree and being a liberal. I think it's when you can see high school or less, even at the highest incomes, are still Republican leaning. I think this shows that the people who choose to go their own way are going to vote for independence, and the people who do what they are told in an authoritative system are going to vote for an authoritative system.
Yeah, I mean, particularly because the humanities, or at least the reason why the humanities department is probably extremely overrepresented is because the humanities departments have almost entirely been co-opted by Marxists.
Yes.
Right? You generally, if you're going on and about your day, you probably don't run into a lot of Marxists, at Walmart or, going and doing stuff. Maybe some young activists or whatever.
That whole diner goth phenomenon.
Yeah, some of that. But the people that are in the humanities departments, it's like 90% Marxists. Mm-hmm. And I'm not exaggerating.
100%.
The teachers are like
100%,
90% Marxist and then 10% left, but not Marxist. Maybe they're like, oh well, Marx wasn't right. I'm more Foucaultian or whatever,
I had a friend who went to library. She was normal. She was lefty but normal, and then she went to library school, and the next thing I know, she
library school.
Did you guys see in the
she
UK?
Went to library school, and then she suddenly was implementing drag queen story hours at my library where I took my son for story time, And suddenly I couldn't take him
You
there
mean where
anymore.
you used to take your son?
Where I used to take him
for
for
story
story
time.
when he was very little. But that was the end of that. I was like, what is going on? Why are there fellas in dresses trying to reach my kid? And my kid was like, what is that? And I was like, we're not staying.
In the UK, there's a story out recently that there are Arabs from the Middle East that are not sending their kids to Oxford and the elite schools because they're
too
becoming
extreme.
radicalized.
Yeah. I mean,
Right? They don't want them to go to the UK.
Radicalized in extreme Islam.
Yeah, they go to UK and become jihadists and then come back and mess up their countries. It's
There's
crazy.
a tweet that I saw from someone from the UAE. He was like the foreign minister or something like that. And I've seen it multiple times. And he specifically, and he's speaking in English. And someone said, we have a translation. He's like, no, I want to say this in English so that way you'll understand. We have been able to handle the radicals in our country. And Europe has not been able to handle the radicals because they're afraid of being called racist or whatever. How are you, who are not Muslims, how are you going to tell us that we're handling the radicals when we're Muslims? Right?
Well,
Such a good
it was
point.
like 400 years of Islamic invasion into Europe before they launched crusades.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it wasn't even just in Europe. It was sweeping
Yeah.
across northern Africa and entering Spain.
Yeah. For
Thousands of years of jihad.
Yeah. And it took a long time for the
two
Pope
crusades?
to declare crusades. Yeah.
Two of them.
I want to go back in a time machine and just go to one of those famous battles and tap on the Hungarians when they're fighting the Turks and just say, guys, listen, don't worry about fighting this battle because the people that come after you, like in 400
lay it
years,
down.
they're just going to let them in. So, don't worry about it.
Or you can go back with a couple AR-15s.
You know,
Here you go.
This would help. Yeah. This would be the move.
No,
I'm
then you can say
apprehensive.
in many years, the people coming after you will be shooting these in the air.
I'm apprehensive about going back in time and changing anything. But yeah, like you go back 150 years or 200 years with a handful of rifles and everything changes.
There's so many YouTube videos. I'm sure you've seen them. I'm sure Tim has, where it's like a modern American platoon versus like
Yeah.
like the Roman army and what would happen. Yeah.
In some circumstances, not as one-sided as you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having like 13 guys versus 500 archers, they can do a lot of damage, but the archers might still take it.
I was watching, or me and Sarah were watching the Revolution miniseries by Netflix, and they were talking about the Battle of Bunker Hill, and I'm like, man, if you had a couple dudes with modern rifles and just mowing them down.
Oh yeah,
you know.
all of
Battle
these
of
battles.
Brooklyn is
So
suddenly
in
way different.
Gettysburg, for instance, the North had breech-loading muskets, rifles at this point, and the South was still using muzzle loaders. So this meant that it took between a minute and two, maybe even three, for the Confederates to reload, and for the North, it was like 30 seconds at this point. They'd fire, you crack, you
Right. They have like
action.
the repeating
They would
rifle.
put the cartridge in and close it, and then set the cap, and then bang, took them 30 seconds to fire. So the technological advancement was a massive advantage.
You go look at the war in Iraq, you look at Afghanistan, the side that wins the gunfight is almost always the side that shoots more, right?
Now-
whoever it's suppression by or accuracy by volume. You shoot a bunch of bullets.
Now I think that's going to be drones more.
Well, yeah.
Be the word.
I mean, that's the
That's the
future,
thing.
but
One guy with like a 50 BMG, like a belt-fed 50 BMG butterfly trigger versus like the entire Confederate army.
just all you got to do is keep that gun,
It's over.
cool, and keep putting those belts into
There
the
is a
50.
AI-driven gun. I think they call it the Bullfrog. If you guys have seen it in Texas, and they claim that you can mount this thing on a Jeep or a boat, and because it's AI-driven, it can take out like 20 drones at a time.
Oh man,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like a chain
Hey,
gun.
have,
that
you,
just-
have you guys seen the ad for the AI aiming rifle?
Yep.
No, what's that?
You don't got to do anything. You just you put it down on the bipod, and then you look through the scope at the target, and then it'll adjust perfectly for wind and distance and everything to hit the target. It's crazy these days.
Wow, which means any idiot can be a good sniper.
Yeah.
Well, this was the point of the rifle. Like, you used to have warriors had to be trained to be able to fight. Once you had once you had cartridges and you could just load it in, you could hand it to anybody and say point and pull the trigger. Your aim might not be good, but you go so quick it doesn't even matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then conscription became much more viable. Before that, you had a warrior class.
That
They didn't need to have
professionals.
guns.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Rifles are cool. I just got a new upper a couple days ago. I'm going to the range tomorrow morning to
You
zero.
should have brought it. Show and tell, my friend.
Not on YouTube.
I can't on YouTube.
Ah.
So, I mean, I have a gun on me right now.
But you
I'm not
can
gonna
talk about Charlie Kirk conspiracies, which shows the absurdity of what you just said.
Well, the
If
reason
it divides the right, we can promote it.
Well, the reason that you can't have a gun on YouTube is because when you're live streaming, they're afraid that like someone might shoot someone or whatever, someone go crazy or what have you.
but there's videos on YouTube.
You can
that
make
say,
videos,
this
but we're
is-
live streaming.
Yeah, you're not on the live stream.
Different, yeah.
Okay.
But the important thing about the Charlie Kirk stuff is that YouTube has explicit rules. They tell us about promoting conspiracies. They explicitly say we will downrank these and reduce viewership if you promote conspiracy theories. This has been true for like 8 years. It's never changed. And if you search YouTube, you'll still only get ABC, NBC, CBS.
Really?
Unless it's Charlie Kirk stuff. Then you're going to get the known actors for some reason.
There
I
must
just
be,
wonder why that is.
Tim, there must be another right-hurting conspiracy that's also being promoted. And maybe we can challenge all the Tim Pool viewers to send us info on what they're discovering. Because there's got to be something else that's analogous to the Charlie stuff. It has to be.
On the right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
there has to be.
I know that I've talked with a few people in the industry who said that if you make videos about Erica Kirk in a negative light, you will get ad rates rivaling finance, which is why so many people are doing it. And my response is, what advertiser is going on YouTube and explicitly saying in the ad network, I want this video shown at a premium to people searching for negative videos about Erica Kirk? Let me explain. I go on Google Ads.
Wait, say
I run
that again. Okay.
If I go on Google Ads,
Yeah.
I'll say my budget is $1,000.
Yes.
And I want this video shown to fans of music. Who the F is going on Google and saying, here's $1 million. I want these videos displayed on content accusing Erica Kirk of murdering her husband? Why would those videos have a high RPM? Advertisers have to say, and if it's not the advertisers, then YouTube's algorithm intentionally is applying a high RPM to this content. Why? It is not.
It answers our hurts the right question. And to your point then, Tim.
But hold on, that would mean that YouTube's doing it intentionally. That would mean that Google Ads is allocating ad rates to this content. Now, here's why it doesn't make sense. As an advertiser, it's an automated bidding system.
Yeah.
So if I make an advertisement and I say I want to target this audience, it's going to cost money based on what the audience is. So finance has few views and a lot of money. So if you're a financial service company and you want to get clients to make a lot of money, it's expensive because the audience is small and you are very rich, which means your competitors are bidding high.
Right. Okay.
Who is competing to the tune of comparable to finance to appear on Erica Kirk murdered her husband videos? It just does not make sense.
But, okay, question back to you, Tim, on that. Could you argue that if YouTube is incentivizing that, it's increasing YouTube viewership, view time?
But you could have made the same argument about stuff about COVID. People wanted to know what.
Right. If this is the case, then Flat Earth would be front page.
Okay, but it's okay. I'm matching that with a political agenda, so I should.
I understand.
Yeah.
I agree.
We know YouTube and
agree.
Google have manipulated every election.
Because I'm saying
favor of-
if it was purely about maximizing viewership, Alex Jones would have never been banned. He was cranking in the views. It was nuts.
Okay, so
And Flat Earth and alien channels and alternate science videos would all be on the front page all the
about
time.
maximizing viewership that hurts the right.
Indeed. But the question then is, there's other subjects that don't. Well, maybe not. I mean, a lot of the politics seem to be just whether it's Charlie Kirk or otherwise, it's fracturing on the right. So perhaps. I mean, that makes the most sense.
So by your definition, turning point is dealing with a tsunami that no organization is built to either handle or anticipate.
Well, how do you handle an onslaught from grifters and billionaires and big tech corporations?
Yeah.
After
Right.
your founder was assassinated on
Right.
a live stream.
Right.
They killed Charlie and now they're trying to kill his legacy.
Yep,
Yes.
I think that's
So-
right.
Yeah, the worst part is Charlie was so incredibly skilled. Like the fact that they killed him was bad enough, but going after TPUSA and going after his wife and stuff, It's really, really sad, but it also hurts.
It's criminal.
You know, it hurts the right so much. And there's people that, you know, you talk about the people that are grifters or what have you, and it's like, it's so selfish and stuff because, you know, right after Charlie passed away, like, there was a lot of momentum on the right, and people just threw it away.
Charlie was also a moral voice.
Let's jump to this video from Mayor Zoran
my favorite mayor.
Let's go to this video from Mayor Zoran Kwame Mamdani. Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. He posted this at 8 p.m. It has 2.3 million views and 153,000 likes. Here's what he said. Apparently, we can't hear what he said.
The architect, Benjamin Netanyahu, is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
I think he should be removed by the federal government for violating the Logan Act, threatening a foreign world leader with legal action, criminal action, or otherwise. I understand he said we don't have the authority to do so, but these threats are out there and they negatively impact our ability to engage in meaningful foreign policy, for which he has no authority to engage in this as a mayor of a city.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is defense of Netanyahu. I am no fan of Netanyahu. I am more concerned that this is a rogue political element in our country that is acting in violation of our laws and our Constitution.
Well, he's also invoking the ICC, which is the International Criminal Court, which has absolutely no jurisdiction whatsoever in this country. Marco Rubio came out again. Marco Rubio, one of my favorites. He came out, what was it, last week, saying that the ICC absolutely has no jurisdiction in the United States and that the U.S. doesn't have, support for the ICC because it doesn't have anything to do with our laws. You have AOC as well saying that invoking the ICC in some cases. And you can't say as the mayor of New York City that certain leaders who, are allies of the United States are not welcome in a city that you are simply the mayor of. You don't get to run it.
Denaturalize, deport, enforce the Communist Control Act. It is. Look, I don't really care about Bibi either, but any excuse that I can come up with to get him out of office or get him out of the U.S., I'm down. Jaywalking, send him back. I don't care.
Well, the other thing is, first of all, if you're going to arrest war criminals, if that's going to be the standard, then they're going to have to go in and raid the UN and arrest about 80% of the countries that are represented there, not the least of it, which, thank God we can say this freely on air, is China, which is conducting an actual genocide against the Uyghurs in China. As Jan Jekielek writes in his book, Killed to Order, if you want to get a liver transplant, next Thursday at 2:30 p.m. in Beijing, you can get one because they've got a Uyghur in prison waiting to have their
You just have to
organ
pay.
forcibly donated. So that's number one. Number two, and this is the point I was making, Tim, when we were talking before the show, is that the DSA guys are crazy and they're trying to moderate their image. And Mamdani did the same thing, right? I'm a nice guy. I've got these funny videos. I'm running for mayor. Aren't I sweet? Ha, ha, ha. Don't take it seriously. And then I would argue you're seeing the real Mamdani in this video, and he is a far left nutcase. And we've actually now seen him. And this is what's going to happen is eventually these guys have to show who they really are. And Mamdani just did that.
It is just not the place of a mayor of a city to issue threats against foreign leaders.
Yep.
You, by all means, please, in the comments, criticize Netanyahu, call him every name in the book, and that is something Donald Trump, our federal government, our Congress will have to deal with. And if you want Congress to take action against it, if you want to push back against it, by all means, yes. But a small town, well, I shouldn't say small town, a mayor, I mean a smaller local politician engaging in these kinds of threats is dangerous for our ability to negotiate on the world stage.
Denaturalize and deport. Send them home.
Well, and the ICC is also ideologically driven.
Oh, yeah.
Entirely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's a total lefty European.
And it, it takes its moral perspective from like a cobbled together batch of random progressive perspectives.
No, we've been fighting the ICC for years.
that are
Remember they
grounded
said
in
they were going to
absolutely
arrest
nothing.
Americans and remember we had something during the Bush administration. They were going to like arrest Americans in Kosovo or something.
Any
Well, the UK
international
threatened to
body-
arrest Americans as well.
Yeah.
Any international organization like the ICC, even the UN, like it's all left-leaning. It caters to principles that are not held in esteem in the United States. It doesn't. It generally kind of disapproves of any kind of national pride. The idea that you would like your country or love your country over other countries is abhorrent to them. We should ignore them entirely. We should send the UN out of New York too. Get them,
Yes,
let them
of
go.
course.
Let them go to
Waste of
Brussels.
space.
Yeah, let
Go
them
to
go
The
to
Hague,
Brussels.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. There's
This
no
guy-
reason for them to be in the United
This
States.
guy is not an American.
No.
That's right.
He's born
That's
in a
right.
foreign country who comes here, wins office through lies and deception,
8
and then
years ago or something.
injects himself into our foreign policy.
Beat it. Denaturalize and deport.
Well, and the president came out and said, not going to happen.
Oh, I know.
Right.
It's insane that he even made the threat.
But
It is
I'll give you another scenario, Tim. In some nightmare scenario, like what was that Amazon show, The Man in the High Castle, right? Where it
I
shows
did
like
not,
alternate
yeah.
reality. Have you ever seen that? Amazing show.
Yes.
Man in the High Castle. And highly recommend. In some alternate universe where we are unburdened by what has been and Kamala's president, okay, what does Kamala do? She probably echoes what Mamdani says.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Fetterman's going to lose his mind.
Yeah, he's going to. He's actually going to stop being a Democrat pretty soon.
Yeah.
But like
And that's look, he votes Democrat all the way. If he flips on this issue and then votes in line with the Republicans, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take. Look, anyone that votes against the communists, I'm okay with. I know there was a time when we used to do introductions to the show. I used to introduce myself every single day as anti-communist, counter-revolutionary. Like my whole political.
Why
point.
is communism bad?
Why? Because
Why is
it takes,
communism bad?
gay.
First of all, it takes away the agency.
That is true. That would be a great T-shirt, Tim.
First of all, it
Communism
takes
is
away
gay.
individual agency.
Yep.
It takes away the motivation to do things because why would you put any effort into doing something when you know that you're going to be doing it for other people? You look at all
And
through
getting
history.
nothing for yourself.
It strips meritocracy
It's
from the
yeah.
entire economic system
It's
and puts
actual-
power in the hands of the of low competency individuals.
It's actually
Like
it
COVID.
It incentivizes cronyism because you don't give jobs or you don't get you don't get a
Makes
job
people
because of your ability. You get it because you know someone. And actually, at the end of the day, it's not even like a political party or a political theory. It's a religion, right? You're looking
100%.
to create heaven on earth.
Well, utopia.
The utopia. You're
Which,
looking
of course,
to create,
utopia in the first place, the Thomas More was a dystopia.
Yeah.
Utopia meant bad thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was a satire.
it takes away any ability for you to, it takes away all hierarchy, and hierarchy is important. Hierarchy is natural. I mean, I can go on and on about.
You remember what Margaret Thatcher had a great quote. She said, "The problem with socialism is sooner or later you run out of other people's money."
I mean, that's fine, but it's so just like wave tops. The bad thing about communism, or the real bad things, is the fact that it's an ideology. If it wasn't for the fact that it's an ideology, you wouldn't see failure after failure after failure after failure after failure after failure. People would learn. They would say, "Oh, that doesn't work,"
Well, it's
human
because
nature.
it's an ideology. Because it's an ideology,
Also,
and they just look. They think,
How many
"Well,
people
look,
died
it was
in
the
20th
bad
century
person."
because of communists?
Right.
100 million.
Yeah,
It's
100 million.
because
But it also it creates the mitification of your life,
Yep.
right? Nothing is ever going to be great. Nothing. It's just everything's going to be totally mediocre.
Well, why work hard if you can't succeed?
Yes.
And what happens is these folklore and mythology majors say, if people didn't have to worry about money, they would try their hardest. And you're like, no. They'll do the minimum requirement and then chill.
Yep.
There's the evidence.
Or actually,
for that.
I'm sorry. I take it back. I will always work. They won't. So what'll happen is people like me who actually do the hard work are going to say, stop stealing from me, and they're going to stop.
You're earning money for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mitt Romney was right about his 47%.
He was correct.
He was totally right about that.
I forget for what
Yeah,
did
well,
he
He
say?
said, we are the 47% of taxpayers.
He basically
yeah,
said,
yeah.
didn't he say, Tim, something like 47% of people aren't
No, he said only around 47% of people actually pay
pay
taxes.
taxes and contribute?
And this was during Occupy.
Really? Only
And then-
40%?
Yeah,
47. So while people were
basically,
taking
I'm
these
being
pictures,
totally I'm
people
a
were taking
fool.
pictures, holding up signs
paying
saying
tax.
we are the 99%. After he said that, conservatives started holding up signs saying we are the 47% who are actually paying taxes.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you make below the median income, or you don't pay any taxes.
That's why I told you I like a flat tax.
I'm not a fan of that.
20%. Everybody pays 20%.
I'm fine with the progressive tax that we have, but I don't think that you should. Well, actually, not. My thoughts on voting.
Progressive
Libby,
tax
you're
is part of
you'll
Karl
love this.
Marx's
My
platform.
thoughts on voting. It's no longer the get rid of the 19th. Well, I mean, you have to get rid of the 19th to do what I want, but you have to get rid of about all of the voters. You get about like 50 million voters, 500,000 from each state, or I'm sorry, 50,000 from each state, and then that's it, right? So you can't. So when someone passes away,
So
then a
it's
new
sort of
person
like
can
the
vote.
Electoral College, but just bigger.
Similar.
Well,
yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
in the early days of the Republic, we are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. You had to be a landowner. And one of the advantages of that was that was their way of saying you have to have a stake. You have to have skin in the game. If you get to vote, you have to have a stake in this company we call America.
But that is actually, I think, an exaggerated way to look at it. I understand the point being made, but back then it was actually very, very simple. Hey, everybody who lives here, do you want to vote on what we do? When you've got a town with 15 people in it, who's voting? The people who live here. Like, why would the guy down the hill come and vote?
Right.
So
It was very
it's
localized.
framed by these lefties as only landowners could vote. Well, kind of. It was, do you live here? Then you can vote. And it was like, how do we know you live here? You own that property right there.
Right.
You have a claim.
But my larger point, Tim, is if you don't have skin in the game, then giving people's money away doesn't matter.
I agree.
If it costs you something, a lot of college kids,
How about if
they get that first paycheck and they see the deduction and they go, wait a minute, I earned $500 and you took $225 for what?
I like the idea of if you are a net taxpayer, you can vote, and if you are not, you can't.
Okay.
Net taxpayer means you pay more in taxes than you receive in tax benefits.
Yeah.
So this
Oh,
would
so
mean that only
that's
the top
me, for
20%
sure.
are actually voting, and it does include a lot of city folk who pay more taxes due to a higher cost of living. That being said, how many of those people, once we implement this system, are going to agree to tax themselves more?
Right.
Because when the distinction is nobody votes if they are receiving, the people who are paying are going to be like, wait a minute. Why am I paying for these people? I think it would even shift the views of liberals in cities, and the system would change overnight.
Yeah.
I don't know about overnight, but it would change pretty quick.
I mean, figuratively. It would change very quickly when even liberals were told, you have control of how much money you're going to give to those people.
Well, look how much people and money are leaving New York.
That's
To your
ridiculous.
point, it's like a reverse. It's like a
And it was 250,000 in the COVID era.
Yeah.
That left.
Indeed.
People, people that talk about, should pay more taxes. I'm rich. I should pay more taxes. The Treasury Department will accept a check.
You're right.
You're completely empowered to write a check.
You want to donate? You're more than welcome.
More than welcome to write a check.
Inefficient way you could spend your charity money.
So if you really do, if the people that are going to say things like, "Oh, they should tax me more," write the check because they'll take it. It's all virtue signaling. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, if given the chance, they wouldn't pay taxes at all. And I guarantee you these liberal, wealthy folk are using every tax loophole they can. And then when they're called, they go, well, I'm just following the law.
Well, that's
the Trump thing, right?
Wasn't that the genius of Trump?
Yeah, he was like, I know the system is rigged because I've used it.
And he came out from behind the curtain and said, guys, they're screwing you in there.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm on your side.
Vance said that last week on Rogan. He said the system is rigged.
I mean,
about housing.
It really is.
Also, when you look at this big housing bill that everyone was so excited about, the bipartisan housing bill, I was looking through it the other day. I don't see much in it that actually helps a first-time home buyer. In fact, the thing about, developers not being able to buy up all the real estate to turn it into rental properties, there's exemptions for developers so that they can buy up all the properties and turn them into rentals.
Yeah. I mean, look,
that's what's in there.
You can't do this, but you can do this.
But here's an exemption.
The way to
solve
the housing problems that we're having, Austin did it. They just reduced the barriers to entry. They got rid of a bunch of the what's the word I'm looking for? A bunch of the rules around building houses and stuff like that. Thank you, regulations and
zoning and all.
It was the housing issue was solved in Austin. Like housing prices have gone down in the past 5 years. This is not some incredibly difficult problem to solve. Like the solutions are right in front of you. It's been done in certain areas, certain districts. It's just that the power that even local governments have, they don't want to give up. They don't want to allow. They don't want to reduce regulations. They don't want to say that you can build.
It's people's whole jobs to just work in government and be let's just call it a less visible obstruction, a bureaucrat.
This was a point we were talking about the other night. Like people will pay more taxes if they have more influence, because then they can get rid of regulations like billionaires. People, they love to say, oh, billionaires don't pay enough. Billionaires would probably pay 5% more in tax, 10% more in tax, if it meant that they could lower the regulations and they could expand their businesses and make up the difference.
That's what Trump was trying to do for all those AI data centers, being like, and build a power plant, and we'll fast track
built like
zoning and
nowadays
red tape.
They've got those nuclear power plants that are basically the size of Connex containers. Those things should go everywhere that there's a data center that's being built. Everybody that has the fear of data centers, they're like, oh, the data centers are going to use up all the water. No, they're not. That's just not true. Data centers, like, I'm very pro AI. I'm very pro data center. I'm very pro technology and stuff, and there's a lot of people that are so against them, and so
thanks to China pushing.
Yeah, I mean it really is like that, and I'm not. That's not to say that I'm for flock cameras, because the ability to monitor people because of flock cameras, that's absolutely terrible. There should be something done about that.
Can you guys guess what percentage? I just looked this up. What percentage of the American workforce works for government?
Is it 20-something%?
It's less than I thought, but more than it should be. It says it's about 14 to 15%.
Wow.
And a lot of those people are unionized. And there should never be
roughly 22.5 million people. That's too many government jobs.
That definitely is too many government
jobs. We need
jobs.
some more Doge.
Yeah, more Doge. And also, the other thing, too, is there should not be public sector unions like that. Yeah. Because when you have a private union, you're saying, okay, we made a lot more widgets and we did a better job and they're commanding a higher price in the marketplace, so give us a share of those profits. And then you can negotiate based on that. With public unions, you're just demanding more money from the taxpayer, and we don't have a choice. We don't have any say in it. And then that money just goes to benefit political candidates. It's a money laundering operation.
It's even worse, Libby. I was telling somebody today, my first job out of college, I was a high school teacher, and the local union person says to me, and we didn't have a choice, by the way, to join the union. She comes up and she says, we're going to protest. And I said, what are we protesting? She read me the policy. I said, well, wait a minute. That's bad for the students. And she looked at me like,
What do we care?
What? Like, so I'm sorry, you're thinking about the students?
A lot of these
What's your
public sector unions, the union reps and executives aren't even working that public sector job.
Yeah.
And the National Education Association is not just the largest teachers union in the country, it's the largest union in the country.
Should be disbanded.
It should be disbanded. You see Becky
absolutely.
Pringle out there calling for revolution and the destruction of the United States. She's a crazy person.
Yeah, and that's
Legalized communism.
goes hand in hand with unions. And I mean, like the
And
average
with like the
person.
problem with education entirely.
Well, education has a lot of problems, but yes, that is one of the problems. But like the average guy on the whatever in a construction union that goes to work every day, he's probably not a communist.
No.
The organizers are. The guys in top there, they love to spread the word of workers of the world unite and stuff.
Listen, at the Department of Labor, they have this office called OLMS, the Office of Labor Management Statistics. You guys can look it up. During Democratic administrations, they hide it. They stick it in some. I remember when I worked in the Bush administration, I had to go find the people that worked in this office because the Clintons had put them in such a far-flung office that I couldn't find them. Anyway, what they do, their job is to take publicly available data about unions and post it online, okay? The Democrats take it down. The Republicans usually put it up. You wouldn't believe, we found unions with like 300 members where the union president had a Learjet,
Oh God.
Right.
right? like
What
the
about the
most
US
craziest
Institute
stuff
for
you've ever
Peace?
seen.
The U.S. Institute for Peace, we discovered after Doge, had like hundreds of thousands of dollars in a slush fund that they were using to just do whatever. And they were
Organized
still getting
grift.
money from Congress.
Come on, Candace should get out of podcasting and get into the organized grift. That's where the real
Well, with USAID gone, a lot of the billions are going to evaporate.
You had a post about how with USAID gone, rap music has descended in the charts.
It's gone. It's off the charts.
It's just off the charts entirely.
What?
How are they?
Yeah, you guys didn't know this?
Wait, what?
This
What
is funny because we
I knew
covered
this,
the
but I
story
wanted to ask
weeks
you
ago.
about it. Yeah, no, I knew about it, but I didn't get a chance
Months
to ask
ago.
you about it.
Wait, are you saying Puff Daddy was
July was the end, July of
Compensated?
25 ended USAID.
Yeah.
By October, rap had evaporated off the Billboard charts.
So do you
Additionally,
think
a lot of these
is it a
pop,
correlation
R&B,
or-
and rap artists can't sell
correlation
tickets
or
at state.
causation?
So they can't sell tickets anymore to shows. Their tours are being canceled.
Like
At the
Liz?
same time, Shane Gillis is selling out 80,000 seats.
So you're saying that the audiences were inflated by government money
yeah.
because the messages were anti-government?
No, because they wanted to control culture. And some people might say it's impossible to fill an audience with a bunch of actors like that. You can't do it. And I need only remind you of 2009 when Oprah Winfrey had 20,000 people on Lakeshore Drive. I think it was, no, I'm sorry, it was Michigan Avenue. And the first 2,000 were all actors who did a choreographed dance, and they weren't actually audience members. So yeah, they can and have done it before. Additionally, we know that institutions bulk buy their own books. And now there's accusations that
And governors,
that
Gavin
the
Newsom.
studios spent about $100 million fabricating ticket sales, buying tickets to the Odyssey to make it look like it was a smash hit.
That's actually, unfortunately, a common Hollywood practice. You basically stuff the ballot box to
You buy a bunch of your own seats, so that you
because
can
if
say it's huge.
Yeah, because if you do that, you have a good first opening weekend. You go up here. That's what's going to help you.
So there's a theory that the Odyssey. Listen, I got to be honest. I don't understand why the Odyssey would sell out better than a Marvel movie, even a bad Marvel movie. If you go to any person and ask them, would they be interested in watching a movie based on Homer's The Odyssey? They're going to say, what's that?
You were saying that the ticket sales were inflated.
Well, I don't know that that's true. I think it's possible to believe that it's The Odyssey. I mean, people may actually want to go see it. It's a well-known epic. But I just think I don't know how much I believe that all of these people are just like, The Odyssey, and they're like screaming and trying to get day opening tickets to go see Homer.
I think it's
Or Nolan.
Yeah, well,
But it could be Nolan. It's that simple, right?
Tim,
Matt Damon.
you need to repent and see Young Washington.
Well, I haven't been to the movies in a minute.
Yeah.
We're going to see
it's worth
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Oh,
Yeah.
Spider-Man has lost me because
When is Spider-Man?
we're on like
Next
Spider-Man 54.
The new one is out next Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
That's awesome.
Indeed.
Tim, check out the Slack.
What did you get?
I just saw something funny.
Tim Chi.
Oh, that's good, Timchi. Now you've got your brand name, Tim.
I mean,
Timchi, Kimchi.
guys,
You know what? You put a little beanie
we're
as
getting
the
sushi
cat.
tomorrow. And the sushi place nearby just added kimchi to their menu. And
Really?
yeah.
Tim, Timchi.
When I was little, I didn't like it at all.
You got pool water.
Tim,
Why not Timchi?
Tim, look, you should just put out a poll that says if I actually make Timchi, who will put a deposit down on the product?
I have no expertise, skills, or knowledge in anything related to producing fermented cabbage
I would
food
eat your
products.
Timchi.
No, but you're a smart guy.
Even if it's awful, that would be fun.
All you have to do is go buy a company that already does that.
Right.
Just brand it.
Call it.
White label.
No, what
Call
you
it
need to do is it needs to have the hat on the
Yeah, the beanie
the
hat.
jar
on
cover. The
jar.
beanie hat needs to be over the top.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be great.
And you can put it on your child.
Just super glue it on, right?
That's right.
That's
I think that's pretty good. Like I said, you've got pool water. Why not Timchi?
I always have kimchi in my fridge.
Bro, I'm not even kidding. Like when I was little, I have a Korean side of my family, and so we'd go out and we'd hang out, and they'd be making kimchi, and it was like, it's gross, I don't want it. And as I get older, it's the only thing I want.
Well, that's
and so,
because
like-
it wasn't in your taste buds yet. That's what my kid used to say to me. I don't like it, Mom.
Are they?
Korean barbecue is the greatest restaurant of all time for a variety of reasons.
Korean barbecue.
Meat heavy, cooked by you with no BS. They come with a big chunk of beef tallow to grease the grill. You get the meat, you cook it as you see fit, and then you get fixins like kimchi, onions, and jalapenos, and you don't got to put junk on it. My favorite thing ever.
Have
It's
you
the
had
best.
have you
I
had
go
the Korean
non-marinated.
soups that are? I think they're traditionally from the north, but they're like dumplings, and there's like huge, beautiful bowl of soup.
Oh, I've not
Ever
had
had
it.
that?
Have you ever had shabu?
What's that?
Shabu shabu, like
Yeah.
really the hot pot.
They give you,
so
hot
good.
pot. They give you a pot of boiling
Love it.
water, or they'll put like soup and like different kind of broths, and and then you either order or go up. There's one nearby in Winchester. It's awesome. It's at the. I recommend it if you guys ever get a chance. Go to the hot pot at the Apple Valley Apple Blossom or the Apple Valley. I don't know, the mall in Winchester. You walk into this big room with all these fridges, and they have meats, veggies. You pick what you want. Bring it back to your table. You choose the base you want. You can do like a miso base or like a chicken stock, and then you boil your own food. It's so awesome.
And you put the noodles in the little
Is
basket.
it a fun
right.
experience?
Yes.
It is fun and it's delicious. I go.
But
with my
Korean
brother.
barbecue is the greatest thing ever. I'm sorry. Right? So there's our favorite place is Gogi 92 in Leesburg
That place is delicious.
because they half cook it for you. There are some places that'll bring the meat and say bye, and then you have to literally do everything. This place will bring the meat to you, prepare it for you, and then it's on you. And if you don't want it, they'll come and they'll help you out with it. And they're always super nice. And my favorite thing about it is the guys who work there dress up like Akatsuki from Naruto sometimes. So they're walking around in it's like the anime robes, the forehead protectors, and I'm like, this is my place. I would like to, and I just get kimchi for days.
Do you know, almost like so many times that I'll go there, something weird happens. Like we were there during the Butler rally, and I was looking at it, I was like, oh my goodness, Trump got shot. And then
You were at Gogi?
I was at Gogi 92, and the waiter was like, wait, what? And we all just stood there watching the video for a while.
Libby,
And then,
stay away from that restaurant.
And then
No,
the best thing is,
no, it's so good.
right across the street, they
And I
have
love the
bubble tea.
I always get the
They have two bubble
japchae.
tea places.
Yeah, we always get a thing like a bunch of beef or meat and then japchae.
Bubble tea is legit.
I love it.
That stuff is so good.
So we get
What's
our
your
Korean
favorite
barbecue
flavor.
of bubble tea. Oh, OG.
Yeah.
Either
Right, just the basic milk tea with the
yeah, milk tea with bubbles.
Yeah.
No sugar or just like quarter sugar a little bit. I don't need, the bubbles are very sugary.
Yeah.
We're going to go to your Rumble rants and super chats. Smash the like button, share the show with everyone you've ever met, and eat kimchi while you're at it.
Timchi.
I was just reading a thing about how it's clear, like they've done tests and they said that it cleared out microplastics and the gut bacteria reduced weight, and people had reported like less brain fog and feeling more energized. And I'm like, it's not literally just the kimchi, it's eating healthy, but there's always kimchi, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Spice is good for you.
All right. Jolly 1976 says Timchi. We're there.
Telling you. It's
General 45 cases. I believe that we, America, should do anything and everything to defeat China, including the conflict in Iran. And I really mean anything. Take that as you will. Look, I have fears and concerns. There's no guarantee the war in Iran results in success. We know what the most likely reason for Trump doing it is, and I think it's a tremendous risk. And I'm not a fan of interventions. That being said, me explaining to you the reason why he did it is not support of it. Also, that being said, I am not, I have long said I don't agree with U.S. interventions. We have not yet seen boots on the ground. Right now, we've gone through a tremendous expenditure of ordnance. I am not a big fan of that. But we're also not occupying a country with our troops. And, like, it's not good. But I'm not like, guys, it's not the same thing as Iraq and Afghanistan. There's different degrees of bad.
I talked to a guy yesterday who I can't mention on the show, but he's a guy who knows things. And he told me something really interesting. He said that the administration's real goal here, which I like, is that they're pressuring Iran so that in the near future, the U.S. oil companies will be essentially pumping out and managing Iran's oil.
The Emirates just dumped OPEC.
Which will essentially pay for what we're doing. And the reason I believe that is Trump had a particular issue with us spending all this money on the Gulf Wars and nobody paying us back for anything. He's been pushing NATO to pay their fair share. And I really do believe, look at what he's already done in Venezuela. It's basically a puppet state of the United States and we own it. And I do believe that that's the goal in Iran, is to control their income.
Let me, we got
goal.
Fungriff says, Tim, men want family, kids, and duty. We can't get it because 60% of women want only the top 5% of men. If average men get better, they still only want the top 5. We need to fix the cultural problem. I completely agree with that. But I don't think that discounts that there are dudes who don't. There are liberal guys in cities who are like, I just don't want to have kids. And they're telling women they want to have kids. And then they become weirdo nihilists with no purpose or duty. I'm not saying that is all men. I'm saying those are the bad ones. That being said, did you guys see the video of the Asian woman freaking out, screaming about how she can't get? You saw this one? You're nodding.
I think so. Was it the one where
she's
was
screaming
like,
how she makes $500,000 a year and she can't find a man? No man wants to be with her, and she was like in her 30s, and she's considered leftovers that nobody wants to be with, and it's just like, I don't care if women are offended by this. Your boos mean nothing. If you are an aging careerist woman, any man is going to say, I don't need a business partner. I need a mother.
Yep.
That's it. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Amen, Tim.
Get mad about it all day you want. That's fine. I got no beef. If I meet a woman and she's like, I have no kids, I want to be a CEO, I'll be like, oh, congratulations. But then don't get mad and go on video screaming like, why won't men do? Because guys are saying, I'm really proud that you're going to be the CEO of a company. I wish you all the best success. Let me know if we can ever work together. I'm going to go find a mother for my children who wants to help make my home while I fight wild bears to feed my family.
Right.
Well, this is the thing, too. You have the socialists demanding that we have universal child care, but if they actually cared about families, they'd suggest that we have better jobs, move manufacturing back home, and have affordable housing so that one of the parents can stay home and take care of the kids.
Will you stop making so much sense? It's nauseating.
I had a mom who was a career woman, and I had a stepmom who stayed at home, and it was very interesting, even in retrospect, just looking at the differences between the two.
Murphy Brown did a serious, you want to talk about Gen X stuff. Murphy Brown did a serious disservice to our society by implying that you could be a CEO and a mom. You can be a CEO or a mom.
Wasn't
but if
she
you're
a
a
journalist?
CEO, well, yeah, she had a full-time career. But the point that I'm making is, you can be one or the other. And if you decide that you want to have a career, someone else is raising your child. You're going to see them a little bit at night, maybe. If you get home at a decent hour, maybe you'll see them on the weekends, I'm sure. But the majority of your child's life is going to be raised by someone else. If you want to be a mother, you don't have the time to put into a career where you could excel to like the upper echelons of the business, whatever business you pick.
You're right.
You can do one or the other. You cannot do both. And young women have decided, a lot of them at least, have decided that they want to be a CEO. There are some that say, oh, I can do both. I'll go ahead and I'll excel at my career and then I'll settle down. Well, guess what? Men have a say in this, and they're saying, I want the younger woman that doesn't want a career. You know what I mean? And that's obviously clear. That's what's happening.
True story. I had a friend in D.C. that called me, and he's in a situation like that, and he asked me if I could find him an accent coach. And I said, what do you mean an accent coach? He said, for my son. Why do you need an accent coach for my son? Because my coach speaks the accent of his nanny and doesn't know how to speak like an American. And I said, instead of doing that, why don't you just
talk to your kid,
raise your child?
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Tim?
No, we'll just grab some more of this. We got Citizen Rage says, I sub to AIU and your Discord. Are you familiar with Devin Tracy? He's accusing Matt Walsh of stealing his work on Central Park 5, Tulsa riots, and lynchings, and I agree. What's your favorite punk band? Sublime, and I sing better than Ian. Sublime isn't punk. Sorry. They're not. What are they, dub?
No,
They're
not punk.
God awful in my opinion, but that's
Sublime, it's dub, isn't it?
I mean, it's not good, whatever it is.
You don't like Sublime? No. You guys are wrong. It's not punk, but Sublime I still very much enjoy.
it's the band that did Santeria, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not into them.
Yeah, I love it. 40 Ounces to Freedom. Great album. A lot of good covers. Ball and Chain, really great songs. Bad Fish, epic. But it's like dub. It's like SoCal reggae punk.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not a punk band, but they did do some punk stuff.
What's the album you said you like the best, Tim?
40 Ounces to Freedom.
Okay.
But they basically had 2 albums because Bradley Nowell died. They had
I think his son is like fronting.
fronting
Yeah.
for what's the name of the band?
I think it's Sublime.
It's Sublime. Yeah.
Is it Sublime? Because they had Long Beach Dub All Stars, but I thought they had like is it his son? No, because they had was it Roman?
I think so.
What's the guy's name? I haven't really followed it all that
I
much.
saw a video where he ran into somebody and was like, "Oh, I know you. I'm son of Sublime
Favorite
guy."
punk band? You know, I don't know. They're all bad these days. The Defiant.
There you go.
They stay true to their views, their defiance of the machine. They were all in big bands that, you know, for some of them were less than honorable. For others, they stood with their friends and joined them. And the Defiant's got a bunch of really great songs. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
So that's the easy one. It's hard for me to say any of these old punk bands are my favorite anymore because they all bent the knee to the machine and started singing like "All Hail the Machine."
Rage in favor of the machine.
Rage on behalf of the machine.
Yeah.
My favorite punk
All right,
band.
we are going to go to the uncensored portion of the show at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. So smash that like button, share the show, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't miss the uncensored portion. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Matthew, do you want to shout anything out?
Yes. I just want to remind people that America's most precious freedom is religious freedom. If you can't express what you believe, you can't express anything. So,
Indeed.
friendly PSA.
I would like to shout out a new sponsor that we have at the Post Millennial and the Pod Millennial. It's a cool new company called Sound Money. It's basically a platform where you can buy gold as easy as Bitcoin and send it as easy as Venmo. So that's exciting. I'm really grateful to them for sponsoring us, and you can check them out at sound.money/Libby. Thanks.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix and Patreon. The band is All That Remains. You can check out our stuff on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Carter.
I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere, mainly on X, and then at Carter Banks Official on Instagram and whatnot. We had the Defiant on Trash House sessions back in the day. Their stuff is still up on our YouTube. So if you go to Trash House,
We got to do it again with them and get better audio.
Yeah, no, we do. That was like a first time ever thing.
Right.
But, Phil, what's your favorite punk band?
Cannibal Corpse.
All right.
Nice.
We'll see you guys at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Thanks for hanging out.